What's going on, people? Welcome back to the series finale of WandaVision. On tonight's episode, where we're talking about the series finale of WandaVision, aptly titled The Series Finale. Chris, we sit down with a bunch of our favorite people that we've had on for the last 9 weeks in order to talk about this gangbusters, possibly controversial finale to the first entry to the MCU's first installment of Phase 4 of its seemingly never-ending saga. Chris, how excited are you for this?
Dude, to say I'm amped up is an understatement. Not only because of the incredible panel we have, not only because I'm finally done watching this god-awful show week to week, but just because I know the mixed bag of opinions we have on this panel tonight is, I don't know, man, like, I hate to, like, be the guy who's like, every time we do something on our channel, it just keeps getting better and better, but I gotta be honest, too. Like, tonight is gonna be a good one. So, buckle in, guys.
It's gonna be insane. We're gonna have everyone, all your favorite people on, and it's going to be nuts. So be sure to stay tuned. We're on. All right, people, welcome back. It's the season finale of WandaVision. Chris, I can't believe we made it here. Like, I just wanted to first just acknowledge that. The fact that we've already done our first major recap of the year, and we're barely even 3 months into the year. Like, that's insane. And in that time alone, we've also interviewed like 4 people, like 4 actual like people who work in the industry. Like 2021, dude, it's special.
Yeah, no, that is very true, man. I'm very humbled so far where this year's taken us, and I think that this panel tonight, just the sheer amount of people that we have on, this community that we're building, and the fact that we have so many great creators to come on and chat about this show with us just is like a testament to like how great the people in the chat every night are, how much fun we're having doing this. So yeah, man, this is a big night for a lot of reasons, but mostly because I finally get to be done, watching this terrible show.
Yeah, for real. No, I absolutely, completely understand where you're coming from. Oh, man. So I think we should get started, though, by bringing in the people who are going to join us tonight on this panel. So, people, without further ado, we are going to bring back a lot of the guests who were on our previous episodes as we recap the first 8 episodes of this show. And so, without further ado, let's bring them in, people. Matt, Basic Entertainment. What's going on,
up,
dude?
guys? Listen, these right here are called non-bullshit seeing goggles. I wish I would have had these when I was watching WandaVision. A lot of bullshit, particularly in this last episode. I'll get through my channel. What's up, guys? I'm Matt from Basic Entertainment. Follow me at Basic Entertainment, where I cover movies and all that great stuff, and Instagram account where I have movie news. And just like this show, here's the mess continues.
I could not agree more.
I didn't realize this was the entrance to a rap rap contest.
It's a Migo concert, yeah.
Right, I was about to say we got the shades down. We're ready to spit fire. Drop the mic, man. I'm psyched. I'm psyched about it, dude. All right, coming in next.
He was to know who Migos actually are.
Yeah, definitely. So without further ado, coming in next, he is the one half of, or formerly, now currently solo of Levels of the Geek. He was the first guest that we had on this recap series, and he kind of helped kick off the tone overall. I'm not gonna lie, Mr. Alex Figueroa of Levels of the Geek, dude. Happy to have you.
Didn't I say it? I'm back.
Yes.
Didn't I say it?
You're back.
Started off the fire.
You started it. Now you're finishing
all over it. I'm like, yes, burn, bitches, burn.
And burn indeed.
But we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna have some fun tonight. Great panel. We have a lot of people in the panel. Great panel. But Levels of Geeks. We're a live streaming channel that covers the cinema news. We cover movies, and we just have a lot of fun throughout the whole night. That's what we do, is an hour and a half show, Monday, Wednesdays. Next week, we're adding 2 new shows. Fridays, a horror show. Sunday, a DC show in the morning. So we're going to be covering a lot of media live stream. Yeah, but we got a lot. And we got other 2 hosts, too. We got David, Flix Talk, on Wednesdays, live shows, and then we got Nate from Netflix Reviews on Instagram on Mondays, show co-hosting. So
And shout out David of Flicks Talk, man. He was going to be here tonight. Unfortunately, the situation didn't line up, but he is missed. So shout out the homie for sure.
Yes, unfortunately, he was unable to make it, but we will honor him in spirit and memory. Next up, another guy who was on for the episode, I believe, the Halloween special. That was a memorable night for both of us, Chris, for reasons that I don't know if you're ready to disclose. I don't remember. Did we tell this story on the podcast yet?
Some stories you don't tell on the podcast, you know.
Oh man, this is a fun night though. It was eventful though, but no less thanks
We'll
to this
save
guy.
it. We have
Yes,
to save
we'll just
it.
save
We
it.
got
He-
to get to the meat and potatoes tonight.
Yes, we will get at the story eventually. So Mr. AJ of AJ Reacts 2. What's going on, my dude?
What's up, man? I'm excited for this, and as far as my channel goes, this is the media that I cover, and yeah, so I'm pumped to get into it. I know this is a mixed bag of opinions on this finale episode, and Matt, I couldn't have said it better myself. That was an epic intro. So, salute,
It had to
bro.
be a
Right?
mess. It has
So,
to be a
Right?
mess.
He's ready to spit fire. He's ready to
I
spit
know.
fire, drop
Yes.
rhymes.
And he did too.
Yep.
Yeah, he spit true. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I'm ready to get
Absolutely.
into this. So let's get it.
Yes, let's do this. All right. Coming in next, he was our runner-up, our sophomore guest on the channel. He helped us cover, I feel like, some of the problems that we were starting to develop with the show very early on. Definitely helped, I feel like, to help us come to our understanding of what the show was going to be very early on. And he has gone on to have, like, quite a lot of positive things happen to him as far as his personal reviewing career goes. Mr. John Burns of Burns Reviews. What's going on, my dude?
How's it going, man? Look, I'll be honest. I had no idea who you're introducing. I was like, this could be anybody.
It's like
Thank
the
you,
elimination chamber. It's like boop,
Right?
just one more movie channel. But yeah, I have a lot of early screeners, which is if that's my plug, I'll do that. We do early movie reviews every single week. And honestly, I've been getting not to brag, I've been getting like so many of these, especially horror movies because I like those, but like HBO Max, all of them. And I'm like, I have no time for like video essays and vlogs and shit like that. But yeah, movies, early movie reviews every single week. Check it out. Everything is Burns Reviews, Twitter, Letterboxd, Instagram. Boom.
Of course.
Hell
Of
yeah, dude. You
course.
gotta
Of
own
course.
that, man. That's a
I tried to keep it short. And just keep moving. And I got a
Right.
big panel going.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And so, moving on, we've got now 2 newcomers because unfortunately, we had a little bit too many people drop out, I would say, for our comfort, because we couldn't settle at 6. Like this is too big, and there's going to be too much to talk about to settle at 6. So, of course, we reach out into the ether, and it helps that we were in certain very close communication with these people over the last couple of nights. And we're happy to introduce.
We could have done it with 6, but the thing is, we're gonna give you guys the surprise cameo that Marvel failed to do.
I agree. I
And
agree
that's
with
just
that
what it's gonna be
tremendously.
here on Talkin TV.
I agree with that tremendously. So, without further ado, I present to you first. He is currently soon to be resurrecting his YouTube channel. I hope to see that very soon. But in the meantime, he is still compensating with some Spitfire Instagram posts. Mr. Luke of Luke Reviews. What's going on, dude?
I don't have any bullshit glasses. I just have regular glasses that maybe help me see a little better. I like this show. But yeah, I'm Luke Reviews. I'm gonna take these off because I don't need them at the moment. I'm resurrecting my YouTube channel, as Dom said. Movies, TV, everything. And WandaVision actually gonna be the first review. So this panel might change my mind a little bit on it. So
We shall see.
we'll
shall
see.
see. All I know is that, Luke, there's a certain type of feeling towards the show that is going to die here tonight. I'm just saying
No,
that right now as far as setting the tone.
Hey, Dom.
I
Yes.
can't disagree.
Dom, I just got a message from Joe, a guy at the movies, and he said, make sure you make fun of Dom for me.
Oh, even though Joe is not here in body, he is of course.
Hey, that
here
won't
in
be
spirit.
tough. That won't be tough. at all.
I will never escape him. I will never. He's going to haunt me until the day I die. And it's yeah. Joe,
I'll say real quick, man. I was watching this right before that because I know Joe a little bit, and I'm watching you, and I'm like, does this guy do any like uppers? Like, does this guy do a lot of cocaine? Because you
Everyone
talk
has
so
asked me.
fast.
Everybody
everyone
says
has
that.
asked me. Everyone
And
has
the
asked me about that.
and the follow-up
Everyone has
question
said
is like,
that.
do you-
I've never
And the
touched
follow-up
it.
question is like, do you smoke weed? And if not, you should.
Well, that I do. That I do quite frequently.
You need a new string, my
I do that
friend.
I do that very, very frequently. Yes, and of course, the last person to add to this conversation because it already went off the rails, which I love, and that's incredible. Of course, our professor, the man who helped teach us personally so much, and is still educating us to this day, the professor, Patrick W. Huber. Pat, what's going on, dude? Happy to have you here.
Yeah, basically, Wednesday we were celebrating Christian's birthday, and they were like, "Hey, Pat, you been watching WandaVision?" I was like, "No," and they were like, "You want to binge it by Friday and get on the panel?" And I was like, "Sure, why not?" I do enjoy binging TV shows, and I will say this: I was cringing almost all the way up with this one.
Well, Pat, you actually kind of, though, this time forced it upon yourself. You're like, you said, do I have to catch up for the finale? So
I was just going to watch the finale, but yeah, you said if I wanted a spot, I had to watch all the episodes.
Okay, well, that is true. You really can't talk about a full show unless you have the whole episode under your belt. So.
Right, but that's what I wanted to touch on because Pat has definitely got that rare advantage in that he was the smartest one of all of us in that he waited until the very end to binge it all, which, without calling criticism to anything already, may have unfortunately been the way to go with this show. So, without further ado, our panel is here. We're all set. We're all ready to go to begin the final review for the final episode of WandaVision. Did it hold up? We shall see. And we're, of course, starting with the recap section on the aptly titled finale, the series finale, directed finally, of course, once again by Matt Shackman and written by the series showrunner, Jack Schaefer. Agatha attempts to take Wanda's chaos magic, but is interrupted by the newly revealed White Vision, revealed in the post-credit scene from the last episode, because once again, Marvel at the very least learned one thing: if you're going to make your credits long, you better have something for us to watch after them. Vision, of course, tries to kill Wanda before her newly created Vision, of course, intervenes. The two Visions fight throughout Westview, while Agatha frees the residents of Westview from Wanda's control. Shaken by the magnitude of her misdeeds, Wanda opens the barrier, but stops when Vision and the twins begin to disintegrate. Hayward and Sword enter before the barrier closes. Monica frees Pietro in what is probably the worst reveal I think I've ever seen in a TV show. And yes, this is after I watched the whole Sophia bullshit thing from Walking Dead Season 2 and a whole lot of other really, really dumb storylines overall in TV. It's revealed that Evan Peters' Pietro is actually just actor Ralph Bohner from Agatha's Control. in Oh my god. I can't believe I actually just had to say that. I gotta take a minute there. That's
You sure
awful.
it's not pronounced Boehner?
You know it's not. You know it's not. You know it's not. And then she ultimately helps the twins stop Sword as they enter, and a really kind of cool, sort of choppy way to display it. Vision restores the White Vision's memories, and they kind of never tell you what happens with him afterwards, if he leaves, if he survives. We kind of don't know. Wanda places magical runes around the barrier that prevent Agatha from using her magic, and Wanda traps her as Agnes permanently. She wipes her memories. Kind of disappointing, because, of course, there was no reveal of Mephisto at all, or any other kind of Grand Higher Master. Wanda says goodbye to Vision and the twins before finally collapsing the barrier, and then officially goes into hiding afterwards, but not before donning her official Scarlet Witch mantra. Overall, in the end, Jimmy Woo officially takes over the FBI investigation in a post-credit scene, in the first of two major post-credit scenes. In the first one, newly powered up Monica Rambeau is informed by a secret Skrull infiltrating as a human that a friend of her mother's wants to meet, which of course I'm assuming is the setup for the Secret Invasion show coming next year. And in a second post-credit scene, Wanda, in a scene strikingly similar to the sequence from The Incredible Hulk, another subtle Marvel flashback, we will get to it. Wanda, in an isolated cabin somewhere in assumably Canada, is studying the Darkhold book in her astral form, okay, that could also be a subtle hint, when she hears the twins cry for help. What could it mean? But so, with all of that being said, with this plot, guys, we know that this is a show that, for all of the reasons that we are aware of, has been overhyped as shit. It, of course, has been talked about nonstop. The conversation has just overpowered everything. The nerds were finally happy to have something to get into their Facebook groups and chat nonstop about and fill up the internet traffic with, so much so that nobody could escape it. And now that we're here at the end of all things, can we finally come to accept the fact that this show was kind of half-baked? And at the end of the day, taken in its entirety, serves almost like a semi maybe good Iron Man-esque like kind of personal story. You know, if it had actually been constructed as like one movie, or at the very least one narrative able to be viewed all in one space, and it may have made some of the larger flaws that emerged more excusable as far as the Marvel stuff go, because even though I know the Marvel stuff is what always gets criticized the most, I like the Marvelness overall nature of it. I couldn't tell if that was an unintentional pun or just the way that I ended up merging those words together, but pardon me for that anyways. But with all of that being said, people, what are our thoughts on the WandaVision finale? I want to start with Matt. Matt hasn't talked in a little bit.
One word: underwhelming for this episode.
Care to elaborate? Okay, you got the mic, dude. Take it while you can.
Underwhelming. I'll just pass it on to the next. Trying to process my thoughts right now.
Damn. Okay. All right. We're going on to that. Alex, you're up next.
Oh, me. You know what? I only watched this because I promised you two dudes I was going to sit through this shit. Like, I said from the first episode.
I love it.
I told you from the first episode, I was like, I was never going to stick. And I was like, you were like, oh, we're going to do a finale. And I was like, fuck. All right, fine. I will watch it. But to be honest with you, the final episode was okay. It wasn't this grand whatever. To me, it felt like an X-Men movie mixed with a like, it just felt like an X-Men movie.
I felt like Dark Phoenix to me.
Yes, like Dark Phoenix. And I was like, what last stand?
Specifically,
but that's not a good thing though.
Yeah, specifically the Suburbia fight in Last Stand between like Wolverine and Juggernaut.
Yeah, whatever. I was just like, whatever. And I mean, again, I got friends that watch this shit and they were just hype train and blowing smoke up the ass. And I was like, dudes, whatever, man. Just, I blame you two for wasting my time.
Alex, speaking the truth as always. AJ, you're up next, dude. What are your thoughts on the finale of WandaVision?
Yeah, man, I was having a lot of fun week to week with the show. And I enjoyed it for the most part, but this finale, I'm still on the fence about it. I kind of want to hear more thoughts on it just to kind of, solidify my thoughts. But like there are aspects of it that I really liked, but the majority of it I didn't care for. And I hated that because I had so much fun, like waiting week to week to watch each episode. But yeah, like it was a little lackluster. I want to hear what John has to say because I know he loved it. Well, he said he loved it. I don't know if he was joking. But I want to hear what he has to say. Maybe he can sway me the other way, but I'm just kind of on the fence about it. But I'm ready to get into a deeper discussion though.
I will hear all thoughts on it, no matter positive or negative, if they have a valid reason to back them up. With that being said, John, go ahead and prove your wrong points.
This should be fun. I'm outnumbered, let's see, 1, 2, 3.5 so far. So I fucking loved it, guys. I grew up in a time of movies like Spawn and 2 Fantastic Four movies that were they're all awful. What is it you guys want? What do you guys honestly want? I know it's not Infinity War and whatnot, but like, and I will admit, when this show first came on, I thought it was like pretty bad. It is backloaded, in my opinion. Because when I first watched like the first episode or 2, I'm like, this is just, if they do every episode like I Love Lucy, I'm gonna blow my brains out. But I thought this was great. I get it. Like you've seen it before, but I don't know. I want more details other than it was half baked. I've seen this before. That's not a good argument not to like a thing. I mean,
I wouldn't say that I would see it. I've seen it before though. I don't know if anybody. I didn't hear anybody say that because this. I feel like it was a really unique concept for a show.
Well, you said it was like X-Men or something.
Well, yeah, okay. The Suburbia fight scene at the finale was. I think that's what they were referring to. But the show as a whole was pretty unique. I would say, especially ambitious for MCU.
Yeah,
but yeah,
definitely. All right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to. I take the mic.
We're getting the discussion started early.
And look, I'll say this much before we go to the next guy. But I'll say this much: I do enjoy it. Like when you do like a TV show, you have a little bit more time to kind of go through the characters a little bit, as opposed to every single MCU movie. Well, mostly where it's like the same formula, and you kind of hit the same beats, and you have to kind of rush through like those same beats, and then you just get the same movie with a different character. At least with this, you can kind of go into it. You can kind of go down different avenues. You're not really stuck into like a 3-structure act like every other movie. And I like that. It feels like chapters, sections of a comic book that if you put together, you can get a graphic novel. So if they can keep doing that, like I can't wait for Loki. And I don't know about Winter Soldier, but Loki looks pretty damn good.
Yeah. We'll get to that in 2 weeks when we have to cover that show obligatorily for our part of our Disney.
You know,
recap.
you guys don't have to cover it if you hate it.
We always give something a fair chance. We can't judge something if we haven't seen it. Those are the rules. You know this. Next up, Luke of Luke Reviews. What are your thoughts on the WandaVision finale? This is technically the first time we've heard your thoughts on this channel, on this entire show. So please feel free to go ahead and share your full thoughts.
Bohner.
Oh, we're going there.
No, I'm on the fence. I think the fence is kind of breaking. It's like leaning to the not so good side. There's like a guy on the good side.
Don't let peer
waving.
pressure give in.
No.
Stay strong.
Here. I enjoyed it. You know, as I said on Wednesday, I'm an appreciator of the show. And I'm not gonna be like, oh, this is the worst thing I've ever seen, or this is the best thing I've ever seen. So I think as the discussion goes, my thoughts on it will become more clear, should I say.
All right. Definitely interesting. Some interesting build-up. Another person who we have not heard for our thoughts, his thoughts, I should say, on this show for the entirety of the last 8 weeks. And somebody who, again, quite frankly, you know what? I'll be honest. I wanted to give him a break. I'm like, Pat, look, I know we've tortured you with enough Disney stuff. We wanted him to have a break. But then this finale came, and I was like, look, there's no way. There's no way we can spare him. Once we sat down at Chris's birthday stream, we were like, yeah, we got to get Pat's thoughts on this. So, Pat, after being in your unique position of having binged all the previous 8 episodes in, like, what, the last 2 days? And now after watching this final episode, what are your thoughts on the show as a whole?
You know, I actually, I think Matt said it best at some point. He said it was pretty sloppy of a show, and but you know, enjoyable at parts, right? I would assume that's pretty much what you alluded to. And so I would say that there are moments I enjoyed. So I'm not going to totally just crap on the whole thing. But I feel like one of the biggest issues that I had was the actual TV episode plots, mainly because it made the show very passive. Like, you're watching these plots, and they're basically pretty awesome production value in terms of paying homage to those particular time periods and stuff. But you're just kind of sitting through it. You're just sort of like, when does that plot actually start? You know, and it's, to me, it's like I wrote down how many episodes I could have watched and you know, probably enjoyed. And it was episode 4 when they actually reveal Sword and its role in things. Episode 8 when Agnes is sort of revealed, and then I was hoping before I watched the series finale here, episode 9 would have hammered it home. But as I was watching it, I narrowed it down to 13 minutes that was worth watching in the series finale. And that was from the 18-minute mark, the fight with Vision in the library, all the way to the 31-minute mark when Agnes was defeated. I could have skipped everything else in this finale other than that 13 minutes. So, wow. You know, it's one of those things where I wish 2x speed, please come to Disney Plus, because I'm ready for it.
Oh, dude, man. I wish 2x speed would come to every streaming service. Let's just be honest.
Dude, I am just so freaking happy that we still have Pat on these shows. That is absolutely incredible, dude. Now, so we've heard from our panelists, Chris. I've made my opinions vaguely clear. I want to hear
Yeah.
your thoughts because you've had I'd say you've had a pretty consistent opinion on this show across the entirety. You know, there were certain individual points that you liked more than others, but your opinion has been pretty steadfast on the show throughout the entirety. So now it's finally finished. We're finally at the end, and your final thoughts are.
Yeah, so like I always say, I try to give everything the benefit of the doubt, even if sometimes that ends up biting me in the ass. And I'm glad that I've kind of learned to keep that to myself for the most part, because if I would have sort of went on this from episode 1 and been like, yeah, like, wasn't the best episode, but like, I'm super for it all the way through. Like, I've learned to be more neutral as things go on, especially with like the week-to-week format, especially when someone's trying something new. You kind of want to not put all your eggs in one basket out the gate. So now that I'm here and I've kind of learned a little bit about being a critiquer, a commentator as well through the process, I can say that I'm glad I took this approach, because not only did I not judge it until I had seen all it had to offer, but I can proudly and confidently say that this show was half-baked at best, and it didn't have my interest. And I was just kind of kidding. I was just saying those because I know John said don't just say that. But I have many reasons to back that up through the course of the night. Many reasons, because this show is unacceptable. People need to wake up and realize that if this is the kind of content you're paying a premium for, then unsubscribe and go watch the CW. Because honestly, the CW is more compelling. Like, do they have a streaming service? I would gladly swap that out with Disney Plus. But this is garbage.
I was waiting,
bro.
Yo, stop the press.
This show is garbage.
Let it begin.
Wait, Chris.
Hold up,
Chris.
Get the pitchfork.
Not
You, my
CW.
minions.
I'm with you, like 10% out of that whole rant. But
Everyone
when
gets-
you put CW, DC, don't do it, man. Don't do
You know
it.
the
That's
Chris
coming from a
argument
DC
is
fan.
like,
I was
Yes.
more interested.
I was
What
something
can I
like
say?
counselor.
Wow,
Like,
that's
what
a
the
low
hell,
blow.
I was more
man?
interested.
Don't
Arrow
do it,
season
man.
6.
Yeah, but you got to think about this though. One thing WandaVision did prove that with a budget of $245 million, they
Most
gave you a
expensive
cinematic.
TV budget ever.
Yes,
was-
they gave you a cinematic tone to the movie. That's the only thing I give it. I'm like, you know what? This was awesome. And that's the one thing I liked about the finale, all the special effects that they gave you.
The
Whereas
production quality
CW
was
Yeah.
amazing.
CW,
You gotta admit that.
Yeah, CW had this Infinity Crisis that looked like they were behind a green screen the whole time.
They were behind the
Yeah,
green screen
it
the
was
whole time.
god
And-
awful, dude.
And that's my
No,
point.
that's
how
better.
much can bells and whistles hide and cover up bad writing? That's kind of where I'm coming at it from.
Well, that's a different story though. But you just can't go. This is like CW because this blue
But hey, I was
CW
more
like
compelled. I was more compelled by these CW narratives if I'm comparing recent superhero watches that I've seen than I was for all of WandaVision. Because to be honest with you, this is like, I don't know. This seems very film schooly. Like someone had this idea and they were like, and then they're gonna wake up and realize it isn't what it actually is. And it's just like, I'm sick of those types of stories, man. I'm over them. Inception sucked. I'm sick of all this type of stuff.
What?
Like, just
wait,
get back to
whoa,
like,
stop the
Yeah.
press!
You
Stop the press!
No.
Where are we going here? This
Argue,
rant is going crazy now.
Oh
You
my
are
God.
going
Look, I'm a
crazy.
little annoyed because my mic was giving me problems, but now that I'm here, I'm back.
You're taking
All right,
it
I'm
out
back
on the
now.
films.
You're
What
taking
are
it
you
out.
doing?
For it with a vengeance.
Yeah,
We're
wow.
going at it. Yes.
Oh man.
Tickle,
This is
stop!
the
No,
madness that I
don't pick
envisioned
on
for
films
tonight.
right now. We're not
You're coming
taking
at
away
everyone.
films. Yeah, don't pick on those films. We're talking about WandaVision right now. Oh
Yeah.
man.
Dang.
no, guys.
Yeah.
No, guys. The CW. Let's talk about the CW.
Yeah,
That's
no.
where
From
it's at.
CW.
Fuck
Yeah.
Nolan. Fuck Marvel. The
Yeah.
CW.
CW is awesome. Like no. Oh man.
Hey, look.
But one thing, Chris,
You're
though.
off the
We all
rails.
know
One thing though, what I will defend on this, for once, I will defend is that the problem is you got to see what the end goal is because they're tying this to the movies, and that's the problem that I'm having now.
That's kind of
So-
a cheat code.
Yeah, that's pretty much the cheat that they're going with.
Yeah.
So if you don't like it, it is what it is.
I
But
don't want to hog it too much, so I'll just say this because that is a good point. Obviously, I've kept that in mind. And so being a little more serious here, I think that that's a cop-out in this situation because I feel like we really didn't get something of substance because it's all about thinking about the next step. And so the moment that we are in, which I've been saying the past few weeks on our recap show, this moment of WandaVision, which at first, okay, they're painting the picture, 3 episodes of different sitcoms. it's acceptable to kind of be a little vague and distant at that point as you're sort of, layering on the mystery of it all. But now that I've seen it all, it just kind of feels like, hey, we got them on the hook, and then we're pretty much advertising right away that Falcon and Winter Soldier's coming next week, and the whole goal is to, once theaters come back, get butts in seats and get back to making billions of dollars, and these TV shows are going to be the vessel to fuel that fire. And it just seems like the TV shows are not as important because of that, to me.
Well,
I feel that, bro.
I agree, 1,000%. I agree.
I agree too.
So that's why I'm frustrated.
It felt less like an event and more like a stepping stone.
Yes.
I don't know. I don't know about that. I mean, you got all that information with Wanda. You guys don't think that was some type of substance? To me, that was all I needed for this show was Wanda's development, her growth, her backstory, finally getting told in the MCU.
But bro, you got to think her backstory was told within about 15 minutes of the whole series. It really was. In episode 8. Yeah, in episode 8.
Right. But you get to see the whole thing of it. You get to see the origin. It's better.
I know, but they could have put that in a movie.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. That's the problem with Age of Ultron. That's the problem I had with that movie. That's why they do this MCU cheat code. Oh, let's go ahead and patch up some stuff that we didn't fix in that movie. We didn't do in that movie. So
yeah, I feel like the Scarlet Witch origin, that's what they gave us, but with a whole lot of fluff around it. That's what I kind of feel like.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah,
you could say episode 8 maybe should have started the series.
You could say that.
Yeah,
you could
I can see that.
It had been
but
in chronological
it
order.
wouldn't have given that mystery feel that they wanted to go for. It would have kind of undercut that whole thing.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It kind of diminished that specialty feeling because the whole thing about it is that the Marvel movies were events. And the fact that they were movies, you would go, it was fun, it was short, you would go, you would celebrate afterwards, you'd have fun talking about it online, and then it would go on, and then you would have the next one in a couple months, But this is still a situation where now it's being spread out, and now it's being we can't go a single week without this,
Yeah.
And now it's the fact that the stories aren't awesome every single week because they can't be, because just for sheer fact of there's a reason why storytelling gets trite after a certain amount of time, because you need to bring in new people in order to constantly spruce things up. And so far they this show, while I do admire it for the inner struggle of its characters, and I'll get to that in a bit because there are actually a lot of points in this episode that I did like. But it uses the external struggle as simply an excuse to mirage a series of very vague and honestly kind of disingenuous references to these old classic TV shows just for the sake of being pomp and circumstance and recognizing what came before it. It's kind of like a representation of what the MCU is, which is just self-congratulatory to the end. Endgame is literally a movie about them revisiting their past glories in order to save the current one,
That's a great point.
Dude, the entire middle act of that movie is a fucking clip show. Come on, I'm not the only one that's noticed this.
No, that is an absolute great point because here's why I made my, and yes, some of it was we're just setting the tone and all that, but I was serious about the CW remark because at the end of the day, my point I was trying to make before we all blew up and got crazy, it's at least the writing was there where I know it's silly, I know it's ridiculous, but I'm invested. Whatever Oliver Queen's going through, it feels real and I'm there for it. The budget doesn't help. $250 million doesn't make the writing any better. And so just to bounce off Dom's point, I felt I had to add that to that because that I kind of approach stories and TV shows and action films especially, I think get off the hook a lot for lack of a good storyline. And now action series, I think, are falling the same victim. I mean, Mandalorian season 1 is a great example. I think they really stepped their game up in season 2 with that through line and making all the storylines more compelling. But I just don't think just because there's going to be explosions and there's other appealing aspects to it, what are we all here for? We're here for storytelling at the core and at the root. So if we're not getting that, or if we're just getting an advertisement to the next movie, to me that's just unacceptable.
Yeah, it's definitely kind of a part of the root problem of how Disney is dictating the storytelling narrative in Hollywood right
now. Yeah, but don't comic books do that too? Don't they always kind of
do that? And that's why No, you go.
No, that was it. I'm just saying
No. So what I was trying to say off that is that, yes, comic books are at fault for originating that, but the thing is that has always been how comic books have done things, for lack of a better way of making that sound smarter in the moment. But But the whole point is that movies are eventually supposed to kind of have that satisfying ending, but at the very least, TV has kind of trained us to, okay, we can expect breaks and pauses, but there has to be like kind of those moments of resolution. And this one had it, but it still felt like it was building towards something that we don't necessarily know if it's going to come back and help us. Because if there's one thing that, weirdly enough, I would say the MCU has not done a good job of, it's kind of just like settling in the little moments. And the craziest thing is that this was the first show that actually did that. This was the first show that, to me, actually kind of did capture perfectly the inner struggle of this character. And I thought that, like, weirdly enough, the sitcom homages actually did kind of help as, like, this weird thing that she was referencing, you know? And I think that that story is interesting. I think that idea in and of itself is an interesting idea for like a movie or like a short like 2 or 4 episode thing that's aired at once. But I think the format in which it is chosen in this 9 episode format, that is where I think it kind of got excessive. And that's when the story feels stretched out. And that's when things don't feel satisfying, you know? It's a lot more satisfying because let me tell you something. I know a lot of people complain about the early Marvel movies and saying how all those villains were basically just like copycats of the heroes. They kind of were, but guess what? Those movies were still hella fun. And I still kind of love the third act of the first Iron Man, and I still kind of love Obadiah Stane, even though he's a complete copycat of Tony Stark. So, like, there is a world in which this could have worked, in which this entire setup could have worked. Everything with the Agatha Harkness character made it tie into future properties if it was a lot shorter. But again, the other thing that I want to say just about the overall properties, statements of it, is this is still only the first thing. We've got Falcon and Winter Soldier in 2 weeks. We'll see how that goes. It's only 6 episodes. It's a lot shorter. That could affect what they have to put into this story overall for the next 6 weeks. We don't know. But that's just my statements on just Marvel going forward. And as far as like kind of the rest of WandaVision goes, Luke, you've been quiet this entire time.
Well, real quick, I just want to, before we get too far away from it, I want to sort of, because I do agree with John's point about the comics, and I do have something to say to that as a very avid comic reader. First off, we have a new face in the chat, Team TYC. Thanks for hanging, man. We will get to that a little later on for sure, because we're kind of still in the setup phase, but we will get to that. So you said that, don't comics always kind of go to the next thing without a full resolve, right? Essentially, that's what you were saying, John?
Yeah.
And that's totally true. Like, I read one of my favorite comic runs is Aquaman's Rebirth. I think they capped out at like 80 issues, and then they finally resolved it 80 issues later. But they didn't pay off kind of those half-baked arcs in between. But that's part of the fun of the comic week to week. See, this is an adaptation. You're taking a character that was written for the comic book medium and adapting it to the film medium. And I think that's something we forget a lot of times when it comes to, comic book heroes on the big screen. We're adapting them to now fit the new mold of film or television. And so that's where I think the storytelling differentiates and has to then sort of change and congeal into the medium that it's now trying to be placed in. So that's why I think it's sort of unacceptable, because you have audiences that are trained to be used to one thing for so long. And it's okay to break the mold, but I think all people who watch stories on television and TV, unless it's like procedurals like Law and Order, and even those have conclusions and satisfying endings, whether it's your bag or it's not. So that's kind of where I kind of differentiate as an avid comic reader. That's kind of where I don't kind of give that grace that some comic readers do. And I know that's a matter of opinion, but that's just kind of where I come at it from.
But just to like respond to that, it's like we're so far away from doing that. Like 2000 was the first X-Men movie, and they were all wearing like black leather because it had to be more like a movie. We're so removed from trying to make it feel like a movie. Marvel is doing what they want to do. They're just doing not direct translations, because they always kind of take adaptations, like little pieces that they like, but they definitely don't care about 3 structures, conclusion. They definitely don't really want to do a conclusion. They want to keep it going. Because the comics, if you think about it, they never really stop. There's never like a hard conclusion. There's always somebody who comes along, picks up the baton, and keeps going with it. If they have to do a Earth 2, 3, 4, whatever, they'll do it. It never really ends. So I'm cool with it. And I know they're leading up, Doctor Strange and stuff like that. So it's fine for me. You know what I mean?
I totally see that. I guess it's just different taste, it seems.
I just think it's funny that they started off with the 2 black and white, like the TV shows, because they knew they could. Because they didn't come out with Marvel movies, and people were thirsting anyway for a Marvel something. So they were like, you know what? Let's throw the 2 shittiest episodes out there. People are going to soak it up, and then we'll just build it up from there. Like, I mean, think about it. You have not seen a Marvel movie in God knows when because of the COVID situation. And what was the first 2 episodes? Was the I Love Lucy, the Bewitched style or whatever, and then it started to get, you know, to certain people, it started to get better, and then towards the ending. But again, they could do that because their track record allows it. Where DC can't do that. They have to start off the gate really good. They're like, you know what? We have to give people what they want out the gate. We got this Justice League shit coming down 2 weeks from now. If that's a total shit fest, we're gonna have another reboot in our hands to start. Where Marvel can't. Look, Scarlet Witch is in her true form, so whenever she comes out in the movies, she's gonna be mad powerful because you already knew she read the damn entire book while having a coffee on a bench looking at a mountain. So there you go. Yep. Everyone knows exactly what happened. She was
had to be detailed. You had to be on a bench looking at a mountain. Like,
yeah, she had Folgers. She was chilling with the Folgers in the other room. She's like this.
Chilling with the Folgers.
Oh, look at me. I'm reading the book while she's like in her pajamas looking at it. I was like, get the hell out of here. Waste of my damn 10 minutes of waiting for fucking credits. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. But I mean, people like
what? You mean you didn't like the hints to the astral plane and Mephisto and the Doctor Strange?
I'm not into predictions. I'm not into predictions. Yeah. Like, all my friends talk to me and they're like, oh, they drop Reed Rich. I don't give a shit. I don't think Fantastic Four is gonna be here, dude. So don't even get too excited. And they all, it's gonna be, man, because she said the one freaking word and everyone ran through it. And then John Krasinski's gonna be appearing somewhere in
Krasinski.
No, whatever his stupid name is, he's gonna show up. And Sue Storm is gonna be doing this, and then Mephisto dude is gonna be. I was like, oh, whatever. It didn't happen, and everyone is now going crazy.
Remember when everyone thought the bunny was someone? That bunny was either
right?
like
Yeah, the helicopter was something too because she picked up the toy helicopter.
Wait, let's talk about how there was like really no cameo.
No,
it was Paul Bettany. It was Paul Bettany.
He was talking about Evan
I called
Peters.
that.
You called that, Matt. You really did on your show.
I talked about how Paul Bettany was talking about, oh, I cannot wait to work with this one person, right? He was like, this is my dream.
He was totally trolling.
He was talking about himself.
He
was talking about himself.
That's a letdown in itself.
But then again, too, like after this show, this is like the first time in the MCU this has ever happened, right? We theorize so much and then we get let down. After this show, I'm kind of like I told you, AJ, and I think I told Chris too. We need to stop being spoiled as MCU fans because we're kind of spoiled. We're spoiled as
spoiled.
Endgame, the action and boom, boom, boom. No, let's calm down. Let's let the creators create. Let's play out the story. Let's see how it goes. And if it's bad, it's bad. If it's good, it's good. But let's calm down with the theories. Let's calm down because you can't bank on a theory. It's like Last Jedi all over again. You can't go, this is gonna happen, and then boom, it doesn't happen. You get mad. That's not their fault. It's your fault for setting those expectations. But yeah,
that's everybody though. That's everybody.
Yeah, that's
every
everybody.
Medium, every video game you play. Like, oh my god, I can't wait. You know, Resident Evil's gonna bring back the original director.
The internet effect.
Say your expectations low.
Wait, Pat, do you have something to say? Do you want to jump in here?
No, I'm good.
Come on, dude. I was setting you up.
Yeah, and the fun.
No, the only real thing I have to say is, in terms of the DC universe, saying that they gotta really hype us up and do well. I think they have a dark horse in Doom Patrol. I think that's a very fantastic show, and I think that could basically be a nice template for offbeat superhero TV shows. Just because it's enjoyable, it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's well written. The writers are on point for that. If the Doom Patrol writers could write every MCU TV show, I would not complain.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. So can I say something about the expectations?
Yes, Luke, please.
First of all, actors gotta shut the hell up. Just don't let them do any interviews.
Thank you.
Yes.
The engineer is gonna be amazing. Elizabeth Olsen said there's gonna be a Luke Skywalker-sized cameo. I mean, Mark Hamill's 5'9". So I don't know. Maybe someone else showed up who's that height. And another thing about the expectations of big cameos. I kind of blame Mandalorian for that because they gave us the Ahsoka, they gave us the Luke, and I guess people maybe were carrying over from that, and they thought, ooh, could be something like that in a year, and they kind of, myself included, forgot what the show was actually about. It was Wanda's grief and that. And there's not going to be a Fantastic Four setup. There's not going to be a Mephisto. I don't know. Maybe he was in the kitchen cooking eggs or something.
Bro, yeah, I agree with you, Luke. But
Yes.
we got 9 episodes of grief. That was just, I don't know. It was a letdown. It was in that aspect.
It's definitely certainly not interesting as far as it not being particularly deep. Here's what I'll say is that while I do think they did the Disney thing and that they hit the classical character beat emotions, I think where they kind of came up short is their need to dig like really deep. Like the fact that they kind of saved the mystery and trauma as kind of like the shock reveal when it was like, okay, so you're just confirming something that we already know. They're like, no, we just like we'll never like go any deeper, you know, and we're not like trying to make this particularly surface level. Like if they made it to a thing of where like Wanda's emotional state like was actually like influencing like the fracturing of reality itself, that would be one thing. But it's like no, it's just this like one little town that she has hostage, and then it's just like energy lightning show, and that's how that's everything, and that's gonna be solved. Because
I felt like it was hardly any stakes in the series.
Like every single Marvel thing, where it's like that's just because that's how every single Marvel movie is obliged to act with a third act light show. Like it's awesome and it's visually pleasing, but it's just like obligatory. And once you realize that, it kind of gets really boring.
You know, it's funny. I took it the other way because honestly, she didn't know how powerful she really is. So like she was only adapting to the powers that she knew, and she brought Vision back to. See, the thing is that they faked you in the first half of the show because you thought she stole the body because she'll show the video clip and she blew out the window, she picked up whatever they did, and then you're going, oh, okay, so she stole it. That's the robot, and they want it back. Then, truth be told, what happened? She, you know, with her power, she brought everybody, you know, her kids, and I was like, shit, she is really strong. I don't know much about the character because I never liked Vision and Scarlet Witch, so I was like, oh, this is pretty, you know, that whole scene thing was pretty cool when she's, you know, getting stronger, and I was like, all right, that's pretty cool for someone like me that never read the comics or nothing. So I'm like, okay, I could see how she is strong. And you know what, Tony Stark said this shit in Age of Ultron or Civil War when he was like, she's like one of the strongest ones, and she really tapped into her powers.
Yeah,
and it was true.
Yeah,
like she controlled almost a whole city.
I mean, we knew she was strong in Endgame when she almost took down Thanos. So.
Yeah, but that was without reading the book. So imagine now with the book.
That was still the raw power, you know?
Yeah, this one they really put more respect to Wanda's power growth, and I think I kind of talked about this how, you know, without Iron Man and Captain America, they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing. If we're talking about comic book accuracy, Iron Man and Captain America should not be facing off against Thanos with the Infinity Gauntlet, right? The whole power scaling in the MCU has been kind of mixed, right? You get Thor in Infinity War with a Stormbreaker, right? A hammer out of nowhere, from a Dying Star or whatever.
Dying Star.
Yeah.
And he goes through a 6-powered Infinity Stone. The next movie, he has 2 hammers and gets beat up with a sword. Think about that. That power scaling doesn't match up at all.
It's
and over here,
Thanos.
He was out of shape.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Dude, the Hulk. Where was the Hulk? The Hulk got his ass whooped from Infinity War all the way to. You think, the end game, he's gonna get really strong and he's gonna beat people's asses, and he was all the way. I don't even know where the hell he was. He was just running.
It kind of seems like they're powering.
This is devolved into.
It's great. It really is.
I love this. This is making my night.
It kind of seems like they're powering down the strong characters so they can uplift the weaker characters. You want to say? Yeah, and I feel like now with those weaker characters, Iron Man and Cap, we got Doctor Strange and Wanda. They're 2 of the strongest ones. They're really trying to show off their strength. Yeah, the problem I have here is they kind of expedite it a little bit too much. Like I just couldn't stand the whole. Oh yeah, Darcy was talking to Vision. Oh yeah, and in Infinity War this happened. So you just got a Blu-ray. You're watching Infinity War. And you're just repeating what you're saying. Like,
yes, exactly.
That whole thing. Like, how would she know that? How would she know that? Like, how would she know that?
That's the part that was.
She got it on 4K the day it came out. She was waiting outside Best Buy.
Let me just say though, Matt, because
had the subtitles on the whole time, so she knew exactly what was happening. She could read it too and instantly
wrote it down. Someone was writing it down and
taking notes.
But I actually really it's weird because I agree with Matt when he says they expedited the whole Wanda arc, but then also isn't it too little too late? You know, wouldn't have been more special had we have known these characters instead of them just being, if she really is this truly strong character and Kevin Feige really has this roadmap that he's been throwing in our face for the past, he seems like a humble guy. I'm just saying the internet throws in our face nonstop over and over again that there's this roadmap, then, you know, you would think that maybe they would have been more important up until now.
I mean, that's the same thing with Captain Marvel when they released that movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I think you could say that for the relationship, Vision and Wanda, because I didn't get the relationship at all. I never did, and I never they force it. It was more of Elizabeth Olsen's performance that made me feel something about the relationship, right? Mm-hmm. But it was never the relationship itself, because I feel like in the past movies they rushed it. But I think for the time for Wanda to be the powerful being, I think it's time. I think it's time now.
Yeah.
I think it's time for now.
When they showed them in Infinity War, like the first scene of them together, I was like, "What the heck is this?"
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
like they're together. Yeah. What the heck?
Why it's difficult, I think, to talk about this finale, at least for me personally, is because it doesn't feel like a finale. Rather, it feels like we got a setup or the origin for the big bad of Phase 4 or one of the big key pieces. Like, it doesn't really feel like there was this climactic finish. Rather, it feels like this is the first piece in a puzzle. Yeah, stepping stone, a first piece in a puzzle, a transition rather from Phase 3 to Phase 4 that we're still kind of transitioning into. We're not fully in my opinion, we're not fully in Phase 4 right now, which makes this really weird to talk about and digest.
Yeah, but hold on. I'm going to stop you right there. The ending of Iron Man ends with him saying, "I'm Iron Man," and everyone losing their shit, and they just cut. So don't say like, "Oh, there's other MCU movies that have a conclusion and don't leave you hanging." Every single MCU movie has ended in a kind of like, "What's gonna happen next?" Right?
Right.
I mean, with the exception of like Endgame, because like we're done. But
right.
But I also feel like with Iron Man, one that was the first, I guess, official film. I know it's like kind of weird with that Hulk movie. And so they were still kind of seeing where it was going to go. Would it have legs? Would it get off the ground? And also, I think that at least with the payoff for like, you know, that first Iron Man film, like you still had him sort of achieve his goal and it felt meaningful and it felt realized. Whereas it just doesn't feel truly realized for me personally. Again, it's just me. In WandaVision, it doesn't feel realized because I guess I still don't really know where we're going with this. It feels more like the forward in a book rather than like the first chapter to me.
You know what it feels like? It feels like that one season in television where they always spend time like focusing on just like, oh, they say it's all character driven and it's all motivated by character, right? Which is really just an excuse for when the characters that are usually on a pretty forward trajectory moving path are usually stationed in one place and they're kind of stuck there for a season. I would compare this to, ironically enough, two examples from Game of Thrones where this is done right. Both examples from season 2 of Game of Thrones. That is Arya being at Harrenhal and Daenerys being at Karth early on in Game of Thrones. This is going like way back. And I will say that while the Arya storyline is done right because that sows tension and it plays around with character comparisons and relationships, Daenerys, I would say, remains stagnant because it ultimately does not serve anything in the long-term story or goal and only serves to fulfill some internal need. This, I will say, felt like that entire Karth subplot stretched out across 9 episodes in that it felt very satisfying and it feels like certainly this character has achieved something and achieved some form of inner peace, but it also feels like the blatant nature of setupery has kind of crippled this from ever having any real lasting impact. And I think that is the ultimate problem and worry that I feel like a lot of us have going forward, not only for the MCU, but also because they are kind of dictating the way that modern day storytelling is going for the rest of movies, and the movies that we like to see, you know?
Wait, but question though, because you're talking about storytelling.
Right.
So if she would have came out in Age of Ultron, straight Scarlet Witch, powerful, you know, she could do all this crap with her powers, right? You guys would have been okay with it. Because when I understand, because from watching this TV show, she was super young with her brother. She did not know how powerful she was in the second Avengers movie. She did not know how strong she was. All the stuff that was happening throughout the movie leading up to this molded her to turn into Scarlet Witch, because that's what I got from this. She lost her brother, then she lost Vision, because that's what I started to get. And every time she started to lose someone that gets close to her, she just shut down and blocked the world away, and she created her own bubble. And that's what I'm trying to think. And because I know Chris was saying, why didn't we get this one in the movie? I have a feeling the reason why is you're gonna throw another, special effects character into the mix with Captain America, Iron Man, the Hulk, Thor, in the first phase and all this, or she was phase 2 or 3, whatever the Avengers movie came out with Age of Ultron. I kind of understand why they went down this route. Now, again, I'm not into the whole WandaVision, the story arc, but I kind of like the way they did it, that she was a youngster, because look, she had a trench coat that was red, and now she looked hot. And by the way, she looked kind of hot. In Scarlet Witch.
I was waiting for it.
I'm not gonna lie. Her suit looked very well. I loved it.
Yeah.
Well-tailored suit.
It was nice.
Yes, it was very well, and I think she earned it because she figured out she was like, you know what? If I put my shit to the side and learn this damn dark arts book, no one can fuck with me, and that's what pretty much I got from this one season. Now, I'm defending the shit out of Scarlet Witch. I don't know why. But I'm talking about the storyline. That's the thing. Like in terms of storyline and character development, I think they had it built from the second Avengers movie. I mean, that's the way I took it. She was a youngster with her brother. She lost her brother. Civil War. She blew up that thing with the building, and she suffered from that. And Tony Stark was like, "Yo, you're gonna stay here because you're gonna create more damage if you come out to the world." And then she met Vision. Vision died. And then we got WandaVision. She has kids in her mind and all blah, blah, blah. I'm sorry, man. I just feel like
that was a good point.
No, that's good. No, that's good, man. That's good.
I'm a DC fan, damn it. What's wrong with me?
I'm gonna say, I'm like getting emotional there.
I'm getting attached because I'm like, man.
I appreciated it.
It's very, I don't know. To me, it was a very well thought out storyline from Age of Ultron to WandaVision.
Yeah.
That's
See,
to me,
great
in terms of
storyline for
character.
episode 8, because pretty much you're recapping all the
Episode-
story points that dropped in episode 8.
One episode.
Yeah, that's all I needed.
Yep. Honestly,
That's all I needed.
Honestly,
That was
hey,
the
Could've been a
best,
movie,
Yep.
the Bat Clown said in the chat, like it should have been like a 2-hour movie. That would have been cool. A Disney Plus
Yes.
premiere.
Yeah.
Yes.
And just
Yeah,
take
that
all
was-
the best elements
I feel
of
like
this
honestly.
season.
Oh,
It
sorry. Go
really
ahead.
Yeah, that
was
would've been
just
better, yeah.
it really was just in the execution of how this was portrayed. It was the
Or
fact that it was 9 episodes that we had to wait week to week for. Like that
Yeah.
ultimately is at the end of the day. This is what I feel like I've been saying these last couple of weeks, which is where they need to install a new kind of screeners where it's like, okay, how does this feel perceived for time? Like they make 3 different cuts, like a 2-hour cut, like a 10-hour cut, and then like however many hours they'll need in order to make it like a competent miniseries and see what works, Like I still think it's possible. Like you could still release some of all these miniseries that are coming out as movies,
That's a really good point. Yeah, I think that's a really good point because I was kind of thinking about what you had said a few minutes ago, Dom, where you're like, Marvel kind of dictates the new way we tell stories. And I think they need to take more attention to detail with this because after you said that and hearing Burns and Alex go, I still stand by my opinion. But maybe there was more there. Maybe this sort of hybrid storytelling isn't for me, but it's clearly got a divide down the fan base. And so I do think they need to spend more tender love and care. They need to spend another $250 million focus testing how they release this thing, honestly, if they're going to because they really are the sort of cutting edge of the industry right now, which is kind of crazy because I wish it was DC, but they're still really defining the way we tell modern stories. With Star Wars too, really, it's Disney. Honestly, they're the leaders, and I think that there's a lack of judgment in this area. Is kind of what I'm getting from all the good points being said. Because even though I hear all the good points, just to me, it still falls short.
Yeah,
I think the series would have been better if there were higher stakes. If the villains really
but we
they
just
brought it.
had Endgame.
I know. I'm not talking about like a Thanos type villain, but what was Agatha's end game? Like
She wanted her powers.
She wants.
That's
Okay, but why? Like we didn't even get
Good
why.
question.
So
Like we don't
I agree.
know,
I
and
don't know.
she didn't kill anybody. She killed the dog, but she didn't kill anybody. We didn't get any like stakes. You know what I'm saying?
This
Yeah.
is
Her
another
motivation
point.
was not clear. Her
This is
motivation was
another
not
point
clear.
With
where
White Vision, come on.
Yeah,
now.
but they'll bring her.
Come on.
But they'll bring
this
her
is
back.
another
I mean,
point where I think
whatever.
they majorly messed up is they kind of went with the Phase 1 Marvel route where it's like, oh, she just wants power for power's sake, and he's just another literal mind.
Yeah, that's so weak. Okay, if that's the
villains
case,
in here were
that is-
trash.
they were trash. And White
Hayward.
Vision. Oh my
man.
god,
Hayward.
Hayward!
Hayward.
But it's
Get me started on
Mephisto.
Hayward.
All right, guys, I'll catch you
Hayward.
soon.
We have a new one. I thought that we were done. with the guy
White
Pierce's and the
Vision?
Corey's and the
Change of
Corey
thought,
Souls.
change of heart.
But we
Oh my
still
God.
got it. No, we're talking about Director
So-
Hayward.
Yeah,
Director
But-
Hayward. Oh my
Uh,
god, that'd be
He's
But
actually
John,
the
did you have a
Mandarin.
rebuttal there? I don't want you to get drowned out. It's kind of like
Yeah.
it's okay. No, man, not really. I'm good.
Yeah, because I want to kind of continue this discussion.
he's fighting a losing fight.
Yeah, right. Look,
I'm outnumbered like 7-1, so it's fine, man.
just on this panel. Just
Yeah.
on this panel.
Just on this
Yeah.
panel. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. You guys are in the minority. I hate to tell you.
100%. No,
We know,
I
we
know
know,
that.
but we're
At
perfectly
least
fine
I
with
know
that. We are perfectly fine with that, yeah. So look, we're gonna continue this conversation in connection to the MCU and the greater comic book lore that inspired it. But first, we got to go around and we got to pick our MVPs of the episode and really of the entire series. So, you guys have all been on the show before, so you guys pretty much know how it works. Pat and Luke, you've watched the show, so you guys know the format.
I don't watch the show.
You've been on The Mandalorian, haven't you, Luke?
I don't think I have.
Really?
It's been a while. Luke was last on the Star Wars,
All right.
the
Well, then
last
for Luke,
script read.
yeah. So, well, then in that case, Luke, for this case, so basically for the MVP, you're picking a character, actor, basically any element of the show. Like you could pick the score, you could pick the set design, anything that has to do with the show, as your MVP overall of what your biggest takeaway from WandaVision overall as a series was. And Luke, since you are technically the first official person who's never done this before, you go first.
I'm gonna pick Jimmy Woo. He doesn't miss. He don't miss.
I can tell that that's the character that Chris has been silently rooting for this entire time.
Get him his X-Files series that was rumored.
Honestly,
Yeah.
I
I
literally
would watch the shit out of that show. I would watch the shit out of the show. Fuck Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
How
I
is
would
he
watch
an
the shit
FBI
out of a
agent?
Jimmy Woo show.
yes.
And he learns a new
Yeah,
magic trick every episode.
So goofy.
Where did he get that pin from? Because I'm like, why everyone has a pin up their
How
sleeve
did he
when they
get
get
the-
handcuffed?
How did he get the phone in front of a sword agent right behind him?
He's
Oh
Jimmy
yeah, that
Woo.
was I couldn't. I was
What
like,
about like Jimmy Woo and Darcy in like a psych type thing? I feel like
No,
that
I
could
don't even
also
want
work.
Darcy. She's
Yeah,
annoying.
no, get rid of Darcy. Like,
Yeah, she's
and
annoying.
ultimately, like,
I'm cool with Darcy.
no,
I'm
no,
cool with
Cool,
Darcy.
Darcy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
no,
cool with
here's the
Darcy.
problem. This finale ultimately proved that the character was useless. Unfortunately, she was literally only there to
Expedite.
deliver like certain information and then like just
Expedite.
be there to like
And driving a truck.
Yeah, like be part of an end gang. Be
For
part of
2
an end gang.
episodes.
That's all. That's her entire purpose.
Does she get powers now because she went through the world?
No,
So-
one.
No.
She's gonna be the only one that doesn't get powers. No,
Oh, gotcha.
that was never a thing. It was always only Monica that was gonna get powers.
Yeah.
MVP Sparky. Yeah.
For real.
Rest in
MVP
peace.
Spartan. All right.
Look, I just watched Chaos Walking last night, and all I know is that is the second thing that I've seen an animal death in that's really, really heartbreaking and sad. So I don't know how much more of that I can take in 2021 overall, just saying. So, Pat, after having watched the show all in one sitting, what is your overall MVP of the show? What was your biggest takeaway?
You know, I basically I'll say that I think that I don't know. I guess plot structure wise, I was sort of disappointed overall. But in terms of Agnes being like the bad guy for Wanda to face off, I thought that was sort of a great bad guy to have in this season. I don't think it was perfectly utilized. I think the whole idea that it was a side character and then all of a sudden we had that reveal it was her all along. It was her doing what all along? She waved some magic and had the guy cut a brick stone wall. Like, what does that have to do with anything? So I think like it sort of was like a nice montage to set up that she is the bad guy, but really she's only the bad guy in 1.5 episodes, episode 8, and that big fight in the finale. So I think they underutilize Agnes. I think the whole idea of Wanda setting up the runes and trapping Agnes in it would have been so much better if it was like set up earlier in the season. Like if Agnes was teaching Wanda things the whole time, even if they were subconscious things, that would have led to like, oh, she learned subconsciously about her powers and magic and witchcraft and all this stuff. So I think all that kind of witch nature could have been exploited a lot more across the whole entire season. And really, like I enjoyed Agnes a lot once they start utilizing the character, and so that's why I would say that she's the MVP.
Nice. Yes. Agnes, MVP. Props to Catherine Hahn as the performer. Alex, going to you next. After having watched the show, just to be on this show, once again, props to you. You're a trooper. What is your MVP?
My MVP is going to be Scarlet Witch and the effects. They were really well done. I mean, there's nothing you can say. I mean, even at the end when she's I guess everything is shutting down and she's about to lose her kid, very emotional. So I mean, that was a very emotional and I will give it, I'll split it because Vision, that actor is really good. He showed very good emotion at the end. He started to become a human. He went from a robot to a human towards the end, and I was like, that's actually pretty cool. He felt like the genie. He cried. He was like, bloop. I was like, oh, that's cool. But yeah, no, that was my MVP. I'll say those three.
Nice. Excellent. Awesome choices. I'm loving these. Keeping down the line. Matt, you're up next. What's next? What is your MVP of the series?
MVP overall this entire season, I would say. Before I get into the specific episode, overall, let's just get a shout out to Paul Bettany, Elizabeth Olsen. This is some of the best acting in all MCU, in my opinion. Especially Liz, she killed it. But for this episode, costume design, White Vision was awesome. He was sick looking, slick, and the Scarlet Witch costume. Wow, that's one of the best costumes in the MCU.
Gonna
one
inspire
of the
a
best.
lot of
Agreed.
new Halloween cosplays this year.
Oh yeah.
I already seen some. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
for sure.
It's the new Harley Quinn from
Yo.
Suicide Squad.
True.
Whoever
Yeah.
had that reaction just won
Yeah.
this episode. I didn't hear it, but whoever said the "oh yeah" wins this episode. Seriously.
So
Oh man. AJ, your MVP of the series.
Yeah, man. I would say Catherine Hahn because I really enjoyed her taking on this, persona or whatever. Even though I didn't really care for how Agatha, like, there wasn't really a end goal for her. Like, she wanted the chaos magic, but why? Like, that. But I really enjoyed Catherine Hahn in that particular role, though. I thought she did an amazing job.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
John Burns, your MVP
All right.
of the series. I can tell you've been
So hear me
prepping
out,
waiting.
guys. The MVP for me, easily, guys, you're overlooking is Dottie. I'm just fucking with you.
Oh god.
To go back to what Alex was saying, I thought Paul Bettany was probably the strongest actor in the entire thing. Catherine Hahn, actually, I haven't seen her deliver kind of anything as well as this. I was kind of surprised because I know Catherine Hahn from a lot of like Parks and Rec, a lot of comedy, so I thought she was better than I expected. But Paul Bettany, I think, really brought a lot of emotionality to the character, and we don't really get to see that a lot in the MCU. He kind of comes and goes, whenever Tony Stark is around, but I really like spending a lot of time with him. And, like I said, we started with Iron Man, which is like all science, and I really like that. The more crazier and mystical we can go, I like that weird shit. It feels more like the comics, so that also would be like the MVP for me.
Mm.
Right. Interesting. Very, very interesting. We're getting a lot of Bettany favoritism here overall. I'm not liking the amount of kind of weird, wacky choices that I'm hearing. Chris, I hope to be satisfied by you. AJ, yes.
Real quick, if you want to see Catherine Hahn in an emotional, dramatic role, she's in that show with Mark Ruffalo
I know
on
this
HBO.
much is true.
I know this as much is true, and she tears it up in
One
that
of my
role
favorite
as well.
shows of last year.
Yeah, so
One of my favorite shows. Chris, please oblige me. What is your
Sure,
MVP of the show?
Well, Dom, I think you know as well as I do that it's clearly Darcy for taking out Hayward.
Clearly, finally,
He sucks.
Somebody. He is the worst. He's
He's
the
terrible,
fucking worst.
And to be honest, I would love like a little like Darcy and Jimmy Woo spinoff because Jimmy Woo's my honorable mention. He really look. We were bagging on him so hard on that episode with David, and he really came into this role, man. Like he had this whole Mission Impossible storyline this episode where he sneaks a cell phone with the volume on. He's texting and it's clicking. He doesn't even turn the volume off like a badass. He sneaks a little clothespin. Like the dude is like, come on, man. He's a superhero. Okay,
Yeah.
that is a superhero. So yeah,
Oh my
Darcy and
God.
Jimmy Woo, man.
I have a
For
question.
sure.
Like, did they put him in like a dog kennel? Like, where the fuck did they put him?
I don't know. It was like a
I don't know. Like,
Yeah, it was like an elephant cage.
yeah, it was like hay around.
It was like a thing to like keep aliens in and shit.
Right?
It was
But we're
insane.
still like
Halloween.
in the carnival area. So I think that's where
Okay.
it was.
All
Yeah.
right. I guess that. Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was weird. But
It's
Still
so
yeah,
weird though. Definitely
Yeah,
still
very
It was
weird.
weird. It was
yeah,
weird.
My
Yeah.
MVP. So my MVP, and this is going to be a little bit confusing, but bear with me. My MVP is Marvel's unexpected, unsatisfactory conclusion. Namely because, for one thing, I will say that the Prime storyline, I will say was wrapped up, whateverly. But there's one blatant storyline that really did annoy me as far as how it was treated. And that was with the Pietro storyline and everything that happened there with Evan Peters. The whole, first off, for the name to be a dumb visual pun, I'm like, okay, hilarious. It's okay. We have the Seltzer and Friedberg. We're going to Seltzer and Friedberg School of Potty Humor. This is what we're doing now. Okay, cool. Secondly, for it to only be there to spark fan debate, I'm like, that's beneath Marvel. That's honestly beneath Marvel, and that's to the point where it's like, okay, now we're just getting to the point of DC where we're just trolling, you know? They're ultimately like switching, and they're falling victim to the thing that like we got mad at like Star Wars for doing before. And the ironic thing is Star Wars is now finally succeeded by taking a tip from Marvel. It's almost like we're seeing some weird switch occurring almost, you know?
Yeah.
I hope I'm not crazy as far as what I'm noticing, but I definitely think the future could be Star Wars as far as that goes.
Telling
You
you.
know, and that's kind of my MVP because again, props to Marvel for being so big that it's ultimately already falling victim to its own success.
Wow, that's an intense take.
Yeah,
That's a very
Yeah.
Finish
really.
up.
I'm trying to figure out what you.
It's a lot. I told you,
Oh,
it's
what's
a
your
lot.
MVP?
So
Yeah.
Star Wars is the MVP of
So
the
Star Wars is-
They switch what now?
My MVP is the fact that Marvel finally topped themselves. It's the fact that they finally actually got to that point that everybody said they would never get to.
Okay.
What's up, Jaren?
He silenced the room.
That was a mic drop.
Yeah.
That
Boom.
was.
Mike, drop, bitch. All right. So now we're moving on to the last section, the connections to the greater MCU and the comic book lore that inspired it. So I don't really have a lot to talk about as far as connecting this to the comic book because it kind of just ended in like that really typical classic comic booky third act. Flashy superpowers. Villain claims, I will destroy you. Hero proclaims, I will not let that happen. Villain punches hero in the face and sends him flying, starts to drain their power. Next thing you know, hero pulls out the third act Deus Ex Machina and just drains the villain. And meanwhile, the sidekicks end up fighting, like because they're basically like carbon copies of each other. And yeah, I will definitely say that the conclusion of the Westview storyline kind of was again another big demonstration of a lot of problems that I have with the MCU, specifically where I feel like with the whole idea of no stakes, where it's like, okay, you just freed an entire mob from there. It was almost like they were like hinting at like, oh, this could easily be like the Salem witch trials, but we're definitely not going to show people with mobs and pitchforks because we're Marvel and we definitely don't need anything like that in our movies right now. And I don't know, like, am I crazy here? It definitely feels like there's something that's missing in that specific scene, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I loved that scene. I thought they did a really good job with it. So for it to just be kind of like, I hate that this word always comes up now, a blip, in the overall scope of the show was just a little upsetting because it like
shameful.
offered. What's that?
It's kind of shameful almost.
In what sense?
No, just
Yeah,
in the
really.
sense of like how it's parading it in front of it while using it for nothing.
I don't know if I see that. I just felt like it was a tease because it was something really cool and interesting at a point in time where I wasn't really enjoying the show too much, and we only got it for a quick second. It didn't really give us much context aside from the fact that I guess, Catherine Hahn's character just sort of aggressively stole her powers and killed her mother in the process. But I just thought it could have been a little more elegantly done.
Yeah, a little bit more fleshed out overall.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
are your guys' thoughts overall? Like, ultimately, I think weirdly enough that this is one of those shows that is going to go down in history as being a cult classic. Weirdly enough, like, I think the problem is that it was kind of too overblown and too kind of overhyped and too discussed because it ultimately did fall victim to kind of like the Marvel hype train, and we'll see how other future shows handle this. I think that the fact that Falcon and Winter Soldier and Loki are next are good because those are three very well-liked characters. Those are three like kind of characters that you can like experiment around a lot with, and I definitely can see that Falcon and Winter Soldier is already going to be getting back to like familiar areas. So this is the area where I really want to talk about like kind of where the MCU is going next and kind of like what this show signifies for the future of them as a whole. So
I was gonna bring this up. How does this connect to Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness? And what type of role? Or not Multiverse of Madness, because the one coming before that is No Way Home, right? How does that connect?
No Way Home is coming first, and Doctor
How do you guys
Strange
think
will be in that?
How do you guys think that's gonna connect if that's a multiverse movie?
I am very, very sad to admit this, but I don't think it's going to matter to this show at all.
Wait, to WandaVision?
As far as how the portals to the multiverse begin to open, I don't think that's going to be important.
But it's just she becomes more powerful, and you find out how.
Right.
So when she shows up in the other movie, everyone goes, "Where the hell did she get that suit from?" She just shows up.
Yeah, the thing with that is that I kind of want her to see go crazy, right? I want to see her go into that madness of open up the multiverse, not of off screen. Oh, she opened up the multiverse off screen. But when you're talking about No Way Home, I'm kind of glad it's not going to be a multiverse movie, and not in the sense of the whole movie itself. Maybe end credits, something like that. But I don't know how does this really connect. To be quite honest with you, I mean, it might do that off-screen stuff, which people hate.
Or maybe a post-credit scene.
I think No Way Home is just going to start off with like the portals opening, and Spider-Man's going to be like, "Oh my God, what do I do? How do I deal with all these portals opening, man? Oh, I wish Mr. Stark was here." I don't know. That was my Tom Holland. How did I do? That's pretty much like all that he. That's pretty much like all he does.
That's the best impression I've ever heard, man.
But is it confirmed that No Way Home is a portal opening?
Yes, like there are multiple cast members from other Spider-Man movies that are confirmed to be appearing in this movie.
Are they confirmed?
Yes, they are.
Yeah,
confirmed
as having been seen on set.
But in what type of way, though?
Yeah, I mean, it could be like the
we don't
last.
know.
It could be
the movie. Like how the hell do you really know where it is?
Yeah, and that's actually a thing that I'm kind of excited for. I don't want it to be a multiverse movie, but overall, you talk about like the MCU. I was kind of gonna bring this up. You got to look at this WandaVision as the beginning of like a mini saga, like a multiverse saga. You look at WandaVision, Loki, Spider-Man, No Way Home, if you want to count that, and Doctor Strange is the one that's going to cap it off. If you look at it that way, which the MCU wants you to look at it, would that be fine with you guys?
I guess.
Not really, because they still should make the mini journeys we take along the way interesting. But it would. I mean, look. Like I always say about the MCU, it sounds so great on paper. Something about the execution hasn't really connected the way that it has with a lot of the people for me.
And this was the best example. It had a great concept, a really good concept. It was an interesting concept, and it was unique.
I think so.
That's why I have a lot of respect for this show, because they try to. We got to give out they at least try to be unique and different. And I feel like later down the road, when we get our MCU movies and they start coming out generic and just the same, like how some people feel, we might look back at this show and be like, at least they were trying to be unique and give more appreciation.
But what happened if all the TV shows connect right into the bigger movies? Because Kevin Feige already said that they're all connecting one way into the movies. So what happened if they planned everything out?
But I don't see this new phase just being one story. It's gonna be like a mini story of Multiverse of Madness, right?
Which is kind of what I was looking forward to, is the fact that this was going to be like kind of a series of mini stories rather than like kind of because this movie is the next installment.
We don't know who's the next big threat. We don't know. It's up for grabs. So playing out with little mini stories, I think Falcon Winter Soldier is gonna play around with like a little mini story too. I'm fine with that. You know,
Yeah.
until we get our big
It's
threat.
gonna be Jimmy Woo.
I feel like I'll feel a little bit better.
He's
I
a big
honestly
bad.
feel like I'll feel a little bit better once we get these other installments in, and just kind of can step back and see it as a whole.
Yeah.
But right now, like just focusing
Right
on this
now.
series, right now,
Yeah.
here, right now, I'm
It's-
just kind of like,
I'm totally with you, AJ, because they're taking binging to a whole new extreme. Then are they telling me I gotta wait a year and a half for this whole saga to conclude to binge it all at once to fully enjoy it? I mean, that's kind of like what
Yeah.
I know. I'm
That's
just
awful.
exaggerating, but
yeah.
Are we too far away from that? I don't know.
the MCU,
I mean,
though. That's the MCU.
Yeah.
And it's proven here. This is the MCU way, and they're not going to stop. I mean, this is phase 4. What makes you think they're going to stop now? It makes money. This stuff makes money. Endgame is the biggest movie of all time. They're going to continue this format of, oh, look at teaser here. Or here's a commercial for our next movie. Some movies, I won't say every movie's like that. I would say, the James Gunn Guardians movie are more contained. Captain America movies, the first 2 are kind of pretty much contained. So you got it's honestly just comes down to the director in a way.
I guess. I mean, with Burns reviews, I will say this is I like the way they develop Scarlet Witch in the show, the 9 episodes, because you got her from her weakest point all the way up to like now her strongest point in the credit when she starts to, when she gets out her body and starts reading this book. I like the way they did it. And one thing Marvel knows how to do a lot is how to develop their characters. I mean, if you don't like it the way they do it, I mean, that's cool. But to me, I love how they did it. Spider-Man, they did it in Scarlet Witch. They did it in Civil War in like 5 or 15 minutes. They introduced you Peter Parker. You got a brand new movie. That's it. You didn't need to know nothing else.
Hey, MCU does it better than DCEU. I'm sorry to say.
MCU does it better
Well,
than
I mean,
everybody.
DCEU. I mean, that's a different discussion.
DCEU doesn't know how to do anything. DCEU
Yeah.
is not even
That is
playing in the same ballpark as the MCU anymore.
That's true.
and you know what?
That's
Even
different.
I'm
That's
gonna
what-
say-
Sad to say though, because I love the characters in the DC
Me too.
universe.
Everyone
Same.
does.
But
Everyone
Alex,
does.
even I'll come out and say that's an excellent point, even though I sometimes don't agree with the choices they make when fleshing out the characters. I can say that I really feel like I know Tony Stark as if I've met him in real life. Like they do. I do agree. They do an excellent job with that.
They put some respect on Wanda's name in this show, in my opinion.
They did.
And even Vision, I respect Vision coming out of here. And if anything I could take away, I could take away that.
Well, and another thing that they do amazing is the fact that it's the same actor and actresses in the roles. DC, we have 100 people wearing the different capes. I'm like, what the hell are we going with? We got a different Batman
new
now.
Superman.
So
Except for Edward Norton as the Hulk.
I like him as a Hulk.
And
I always liked him as the
and
Hulk.
War Machine. Yeah.
Oh, I like Don. I like the new one version than the other one.
Well, we never really got to see the other one.
Yeah,
as
that's true.
War Machine.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah, Terrence Howard, as you've seen in the memes.
But we're not gonna
come out of this.
We're not gonna talk about. Boner. We're not gonna.
We can talk about Boner.
No, that's what I mean. I wanted to talk about Boner. Let's talk about that.
I mean,
the MVP,
such a missed opportunity, man.
Honestly,
that was the only thing where I called bullshit because I'm like, wait, you're not getting. So wait, you're setting this up, knowing full well what this is gonna mean, and then you're just like, no, it's just a thing. That's it. Like,
So are we gonna revisit it? Do you guys think we're ever gonna revisit that, or is that just
the
it?
God.
If they don't,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't
if they
know.
don't.
Knowing the
Okay,
MCU,
ignore it.
we're gonna revisit the boner. Come on, guys.
the Boner,
The Boner.
the Boner,
The next
like he
time.
just get hit with
Wait,
lightning.
another thing that they never answered to that kind of pissed me off. Do any of the people that they gave powers they gonna have powers? Like does Ralph Boner still like fucking have super speed now? And you just got a guy that can literally run around
How did that?
and whose literal name can be his last name, the Boner.
Wait,
Like, I don't think Marvel
So,
understands
well,
what it is
I
that
got
they've
a
given
storyline.
birth
I
to.
got a storyline. So he's a character actor, and then he starts learning the role of her brother, and he actually becomes her brother.
Unclear.
It's a role
Yeah.
that he's
Oh
a
my
method
God.
actor. He's
Maybe
gotta-
Evan Peters just really nailed an audition. He's like, yeah, you for Ralph Boner.
Yep.
But I'm gonna be
I
honest
see
with
what
you
you're
guys.
saying, Pat.
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm not too mad about it. It's very childish the way how it came off. It just the execution of it was bad. It was the childish humor. Boner. Yeah, it was just stupid. Like, what the hell was that? And but because I don't want, if we're talking about the connections to the MCU, I don't want mutants coming from the Fox X-Men over here to the MCU. I want the MCU to establish their own mutants, their own new characters, and just pretty much start off from scrap. So I'm cool with it. I'm cool. I'm all right with it. But just the way I was, just that was a low. That was low.
It was low.
To me, it was pretty cool. I mean, if again, now we know that he was an actor. I thought it was pretty cool. Like if she opened the portal and that Quicksilver came in to this different, and I would have said, "Oh, you know what? That's pretty cool."
It's cool.
Now this is
It would have been more interesting. It would have been
Yeah.
more interesting than what we got.
Yeah, and like now he was an
that's
actor.
true.
It's like, what the hell? Like, okay, like the guy has super speed, like the X-Men character from like no, like that does not work. Yeah, that makes us. But I thought she ripped the time, and then he showed up, and then she just, you know, oh, that Quicksilver from that multiverse, let's make her the brother.
I think a lot of people were thinking that until the finale.
Yeah.
Or I thought Thanos snapped, you know, the whole Thanos snap, and Monica's mom died, and she came back. I thought that was that the brother died, and that Quicksilver came to this world, so they switched the bodies,
Right.
Because
that's what everyone thought, and that's what everyone was talking about, and that's what everyone was hinting at when they saw that. And then it turns out that it's nothing. And that's the shit that annoys me, because that's the stuff that I hear where it's like, oh, the MCU always goes along with the comic book fans until they get to this one thing, and then they're like, no, we're not doing that. Like, we're not acknowledging the Netflix shows. We're not doing any of this stuff. Like, we're not acknowledging. Like, when it comes to the rest of the movies, they're like, no, like that's not us. And that, like, I don't know. That's kind of unsatisfying, because I felt like that could have been like a cool new avenue and direction that they could have gone in. I just think it's a missed opportunity storytelling wise. Like, you bought them out.
It really was. They
played it safe. At the end of the day, they played this last episode very safe. I mean, there was no consequences. What happened to White Vision? What was that about?
I was just about to bring that up. I was gonna say.
I brought that up. He just disappeared. He's off
building a ship.
Well, he's gonna be Vision when he comes back, because remember he touched him.
He did.
Yeah,
he gave him the memories and
exactly.
stuff.
So now
that was trash. That was trash, bro.
Wasn't he supposed to be like Terminator? I only kill, but now he's like he has a mind now.
Yeah, but remember he stopped him, and then he told him a stupid phrase, and then they started doing this scientific.
But he's not
philosophical principle.
He's only programmed for one thing, and that's to kill Vision.
Yeah,
he killed himself.
But he
I'm
can't
not gonna
kill
lie.
Vision because Vision wasn't real. So that's what he was trying to tell him. And then he touched his head, and then all the memories came back, and then he just disappeared. And I was like, well, he's gonna come back painted purple, and he's gonna look exactly like freaking Vision.
Go get some paint. Yeah.
So I'm not gonna lie, I actually really like that moment, but I want to know what you guys think about this. Are we cool with now knowing that no one is ever really dead in the MCU? Does that cheat all of the first three phases?
I mean, it was
I feel
kind
like
of
that's a good thing to talk about.
It was kind of already known is the problem. Like before the Thanos snap. Yeah.
It feels confirmed now. If
Dude,
it was
I
already
don't
known,
know about that. There are only two characters that actually stayed dead, and that was Quicksilver and Yondu before Infinity War snap.
Yeah, but we really don't know.
Iron Man is dead though.
Tony is gone.
Yeah, Tony's
dead. So is Black Widow.
Yeah.
And Black Widow, unless they do open the multi-universe and they rip them back out.
There's that whole bullshit about like what happened.
Don't speak that into the universe.
Yeah.
Don't even say anything. Ken Feige is listening right now.
No.
Well, the other thing also is, we really don't know what they're gonna do with Black Panther, because didn't he turn into dust also?
Nobody came back.
That's a whole different thing.
That's a different name.
Yeah, no, he got dusted in real life, unfortunately.
Oh no! Don't. Oh, see, that's
Moving on.
Good night. And that's the show, folks.
But no, I think it does sort of cheapen the experience if we know that everyone can just come back. You know?
Yeah.
Well, that's comic books, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
they do that in comic books. Yeah.
So
this is the film version. It should not be that though. Like I love that they take adaptations and they mix it into their little film version. But still, if characters are dead and actors, especially the actors, I don't think Robert Downey Jr. Money talks, but you really think the money talks.
He would come back. He would come back if enough money was offered.
Doolittle was not a good way to start out his post.
Really,
it was really bad.
Yeah,
really
but
bad.
again, but that's the thing. Like, if you're gonna rely on star power of Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans to come back to catapult the MCU continuing, then that's horrible. Like, how are you gonna continue going? He's gonna be like 80 years old as Tony Stark's.
And that's why I appreciate WandaVision, because it really makes Wanda like a new front character now. You know,
Yes.
before she
And
wasn't.
I
She was
think,
a side
I think
character.
Doctor Strange has the chops to pick up the baton too.
Yeah,
I think
he
he'll
does.
be all right.
Mhm.
I liked him in was it Endgame?
I like
when he started to
Infinity
do
War.
all his stuff. I was like, I
Infinity
kind of
War.
like him now.
Infinity War. Mhm.
Yeah,
And
Infinity
he was
War. That
holding
was the
down
one.
the
That,
water because we need to have Iron Man doing epic stuff.
Yeah, he was not. He
Yeah.
wasn't utilized the way I wanted to see him.
Infinity
in
War
that.
though, he was utilized very well.
True.
Yeah.
True.
and remember, we got Blade coming to
Yep.
the mix.
Not
so,
rated R though.
huh?
Not rated R though.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't know about that.
it is what it is. I mean,
Yeah, Marvel's never gonna do a rated R movie. I think they've
Deadpool?
officially made that.
They'll do
Deadpool.
Deadpool.
They're doing
Well,
Deadpool.
not of what I've been hearing is true. Not
What?
of what I've been
they,
hearing is
they
true.
gotta do Deadpool.
yeah,
they gotta do him right.
PG-13.
Deadpool
Right,
They
Ryan
cannot
Reynolds
do
now.
I've been hearing that.
PG-13.
I've been hearing that
Just-
Ryan
just
Reynolds is
Once
apparently
upon
not,
a Deadpool.
that's
Just constant bleeps.
I've been hearing
Yeah.
that supposedly Ryan Reynolds has not been too happy with Disney and what they've been
You
trying
got
to
that
do
from
with
Rob
the character.
Liefeld?
Possibly. A
Pansy.
magician never reveals his secrets.
Yeah.
Look, the future of MCU is gonna really come down to the newer characters.
Yes.
You
Yeah.
can't rely on Captain America and Iron Man all this time. I mean, people will love it. I mean, I was getting tired of Robert Downey Jr.'s character anyway because it's the same jokes all over the place.
I agree.
AJ. Yeah,
I agree.
It felt
I
like
agree.
it was like, oh, you know what, Spider-Man? Let's throw in Tony Stark, and it's like, what?
Oh my gosh.
Okay,
That's-
great. Like now, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You never know. Could Cap come back as the old
But
man
I
or
think-
show up?
I actually will appreciate that Cap does come back, not as Captain America, as like a more silent type role in the shadows.
Like
Pops
an
up
old
here.
man?
Like a mentor,
Yeah,
like a little,
cameo.
like a bit of a mentor, but just a cameo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Because I
I-
still
I-
want Sam Wilson to be the new Captain America, and I think Anthony Mackie too. He has the chops to take on.
Why don't they just both share it?
Yeah, just cut
Nah,
in
they
half.
ain't doing that.
Nah.
Give him one shield. Like, hey, take
No.
this.
One half of the
No.
shield.
Oh, come on, you know
No.
there's gonna be there's gonna be
Yeah.
a shield fight at least at some point in that show.
They both
You
gonna
know
use
there's
it in
gonna
the
be-
show.
Bucky
I
has the middle
guarantee
arm.
you, they both are gonna use it. He's gonna do one epic
Yeah.
shit, and everyone's gonna go, "Oh my god!" And then Bucky does his shit, and everyone's gonna be like, "Holy crap! Who's gonna hold the
They're gonna
mantle?"
have, like, a
There's gonna be
shield-
like
they're gonna-
Easter eggs
They're
and
gonna have like a shield.
videos.
They're gonna have like a shield throwing like back
Yeah.
and forth
Yeah.
as they're like taking out goons. Nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna happen.
That scene will be cool though.
It will be cool.
That'll be a cool
It will
scene.
be
It is. He's gonna
So-
fling it. Falcon catches it, does something, and then he throws it back to him, and it's like, "Oh,
And then
woo."
Mephisto catches it.
Yeah, he burns it. Finally,
Mephisto in there.
Like,
I can tell
finally
right
showed
now.
up.
I can tell right now. I think all of us are gonna dig Falcon and Winter Soldier more. I think it's gonna be more
Yeah.
heavy on the film side of trying to tell this one narrative. You know, WandaVision wasn't supposed to be that. It was never supposed to be that.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely a bold move as far as
It
starting
was
out with the
bold.
experimental
Yeah.
choice.
It was bold.
I think
definitely a bold choice.
WandaVision was more of the psychological of Scarlet Witch. I think this is what the 9 episodes were. I mean, I keep defending the shit out of it. What's going on here?
I agree with you though.
It's like you switch sides, man.
I'm switching here.
Alex, I'll back you up, Alex.
It's
'cause I
not
think-
terrible.
I
Yeah.
think the Winter Soldier, fucking Bucky is kind of a wimpy little bitch. Like, I don't want to see him moping around and blah blah blah.
Damn.
Where's the fight at? Or let me put my
Shots
fucking arm on.
fired.
Like, Anthony Mackie's gonna be so tired carrying that whole fucking show on his back. I'm
Oh.
telling you, I'm calling it now.
Yeah, but he got a
Damn, you
haircut. now.
definitely listened to My Chemical Romance in high school then,
Yo.
huh?
Yeah, right.
No, but
Need
that's
some,
my
need some
vibe. That's-
Bucky
I'm all
development. I need
Bucky,
some.
dude, I'm behind him.
I need.
Do you really
Bucky
want
development.
Bucky development?
I do.
We're so,
I do.
yeah, it's
But
I
you
do.
already
I need
got
it.
it though. But you got it in
How?
first Avenger.
Infinity
You
War,
saw
they
him as his
dropped
best
that.
friend,
Okay.
and then Winter Soldier. He became the bad guy, and then you see it play out here and there. Do you really need to see
He's the
another?
bad. He's the bad guy. Like what? How
Yes,
do
but
we-
you get
how
to
do we
see him
get-
bad turn good. How much more do you need to see? Like the whole training thing. You want to see the Russian book when he did reading the whole thing, he turns evil again.
There could still be
I
more.
mean,
out there.
he was.
I guess, but
Yeah, it
I
definitely
mean that's
could be more
stretching
development.
it.
But
I don't
there's-
know.
that's
Well, you
what
got 6
Erotic
episodes.
Guys, there's gonna be a steering contest between
Yeah.
Anthony
Yeah, right.
Mackie.
I'm waiting. Look,
Prediction.
they said it.
Prediction.
They made that. They said it in the
Prediction.
trailer. It's going to be an
Prediction.
official part. Look, guys, this has been. Oh man, like I would love to sit here and nerd out all night, but at the end of the day, we are critics first and foremost. So as critics, it is our job to give things star ratings. At the
Star
end.
ratings.
So going around the table, we're going to start from the top this time. We're rating the entire series of WandaVision. Yes, that's what we're going to do. Fuck the final episode. We're going to do the... Actually, no. Give your rating for the final episode and give your rating for the entire miniseries. We're going to start with Matt, Basic Entertainment. What is your final star rating for WandaVision?
Episode 9, 3.5. This entire series, 3.5.
A mediocre
That's
start
cold.
to Marvel's new phase. Wow.
Mediocre. It is
Stone
pretty
cold.
mediocre. Yeah.
He's pulling a me by not taking the glasses off for the entire time.
I can't do it. No bullshit. No bullshit here.
You can't look away either. Alex, your rating for the final episode.
Is
of
it
the
out of
entire
5 or
series.
10?
Out of 5.
5. For the episode itself, I'm going to give it a 4 for Scarlet Witch becoming her main. But I think the entire series, I'm looking at it from her, like, becoming like what she is, I guess. I mean, I don't know her
that
character.
arc.
Yeah,
That
her
arc,
arc,
yes.
like her
Yeah.
completing her arc. I'm going to give it a 8.5 because I do enjoy it from like
8.5 out of 5.
out of 5. I'm sorry. My bad.
Wow, that's
Oh, my bad. I actually got a
You
little-
love this show, man.
Yeah, my
right.
bad. 4.5 out of 5. I do like the way
Okay.
they evolved her from a weakling to now a really strong character.
Bro, I really feel like you switched, Alex.
I think
Are
I
you
did
letting
switch
me
because of
He
Burn.
switched.
Because of
during this,
Burn.
during this
We were on his
conversation.
side. We
I
were
think
on his
so.
side, and he switched. Bird's got in his head.
Yeah,
Bird's
man.
You
got in
lost
his
one,
head.
though.
Wow.
Yeah,
Good one.
but one
That's
thing I will
insane.
say though, Falcon and Winter Soldier,
Like Vision, I walked over and I just fucking went boop, and he snapped out of it.
and he
And
went
it
like
worked.
this, and then I started
It
to get all
Makes
the
more
all the
sense.
films started to go through. One thing I'll say though, with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I don't know if it's gonna get the same type of character arcs like this because there's two characters they gotta focusing on.
Right.
Boom, boom, bang, bang.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I think
Yeah.
so.
Lots of guns, lots of shooting, lots of action.
I
Lots
mean,
of
didn't we
shooting.
have 2 characters in this series?
Yeah, but Vision is wasn't the main focal. It was Scarlet Witch.
Yeah,
I mean,
that was
Vision
a
was
big-
always
it's WandaVision.
yeah, but she was
It's
he was
Wanda's
not.
vision.
Yes, it was
He is
Wanda's
secondary, but he is
vision.
close.
But it's not Vision Wanda.
Yeah. So I don't know, AJ. I don't know.
Speaking of which,
don't know.
AJ,
I don't know.
AJ, your star ratings for the finale.
All right,
of
my
the
star
season.
ratings. I'm gonna start with the episode. I think the episode was decent. There were things that I really did like about it, but overall, like what it meant for the series, I don't know. It fluctuates, and I've been kind of on the fence all day about it. But I'm gonna have to say probably for the finale episode, 3 out of 5.
All right.
3 out of 5,
And
and
then
then
the whole
for
show?
the entire series, 3.5 out of 5. I hate to
Alright.
give it that though, because I did enjoy watching it week to week, but like this finale just really put me on the fence. So
God,
I don't know. I think
yeah.
I still have some things to think about, and
I
but
wanna
yeah,
keep-
that
I wanna
as of
keep-
now,
I want
That's
to. I
what-
want to keep the anticipation going. John Burns, somebody who's been very positive for this show throughout the
Yeah.
entirety
Alright.
of this thing.
I got to represent. All right, so
Your
for the
final rating.
episode,
You
for the
converted
final
Alex without even
episode,
trying.
who?
You converted Alex without even trying.
I know. All right, so what do you want? Episode and then the whole series
Episode
as a
and then
whole?
the whole show. Yes.
Okay, so episode, I really liked the finale. I felt like they cleanly tied up a lot of things that they set up while also going into the future. I know some of you guys don't like that. I like the slow, methodical take on it. You know, it's like, I don't know, like maybe some people like to read a book, and then some people like, children's like story pages where it's like a lot of pictures and a little bit of font. I like to read a book. This kind of felt more like that. I'm going to give the finale a 5 out of 5, and I'm going to give the show a 4 out of 5 because that first episode and a half was pretty bad. So,
Wow.
5
all
and a-
Not-
and
I
a-
remember
and a
you
4 out
early
of
on.
5.
You were not a fan of the black and white shows. Overall.
No, but you know what? It earned it going down. It kind of
All right.
paid off later. So,
All right.
I
Excellent.
respect it.
Luke of Luke Reviews.
As I look back
Come on,
on my
Luke.
time with WandaVision, I enjoyed the gimmicky sitcom thing, but how much did it add to the story? Not really. But wait, let's talk about the episode first. The quiet moments I really liked, like everything post purple versus red fight, and yellow versus white. I enjoyed that. everything before that, I was kind of expecting it. So the finale, I think it 3 out of 5, and the whole show, 3.5.
Got it. All right. Pat, Professor Pat.
I'm nervous.
Yes. Oh, I can't wait. This is what I've been waiting all night for. This is why he's been silent all night, people.
I can hear the
I agree
sirens.
with Alex on the take that the Scarlet Witch is now a more interesting character because of this show. I don't necessarily think that the actual 9-episode arc was good at all. I think it was a mess, like Matt said in the beginning. But like so I'm conflicted on the whole thing as a whole. Like I think it could have been excellent. I do like some of the stylistic choices, but again, I just like there's so many moments where I was on my phone and I was like doing app deletion. I wasn't even doing something active. I was just like cleaning up my phone. I watched a couple episodes when I was binging this, and I graded students' papers. Like I was checked out at a lot of moments throughout the season. The finale, like I binged this, and I'm talking about I watched most of the episodes last night, and then I watched the finale today. And that 8th episode, I was hyped. And then episode 9 comes today, and let me tell you, I was just completely disappointed. Like, yes, it does wrap up some stuff, and there's some story moments that are needed, but I think the energy just dropped dramatically, and that was too much for me. So I would say like 2 out of 5 for the finale, in my opinion. It just could have been much better. And then for the whole series, the chat has been saying this like all night that I need to go back to my DEF-CON scale for the that I use for the Mandalorian. I would say for the MCU as a whole, I'm at DEF-CON too. Like I'm
Damn.
just
That's just that much away from declaring war.
Is that good?
No,
that is not.
It's really bad.
Not
It's
good.
really bad.
really bad.
I think things are really bad for the TVU here because it could have been a little more
the TV MCU
well put together story wise. I think stylistically and like the ambition of what they did is I could appreciate that. It's not easy to basically pay homage to so many different eras of television. For like half hour to 40 minutes and do it so seamless. I just don't feel like I was engaged in terms of the actual season story, why those things were happening. The first 3 episodes to me just didn't need to even happen. We could have just I could have watched the the season 4 previously on montage and jumped right into the story at episode 4, and I would have been fine. It just, I don't know. There's a little bit of disappointment, a little bit of awesomeness, and it's sort of like a game of Yahtzee. We got what we got.
Yes.
Yahtzee.
So Pat, I expected nothing less from you overall, but of course, Chris, we've been building to it for 8 weeks now, and we're finally here. We're finally finished with it. We can finally at least kiss this part of the MCU goodbye before the next one in 2 weeks. What is your final star rating and your final thoughts before shutting the door officially on WandaVision?
Yeah, it's a little bittersweet. Not because I'm upset the show's going away, just because I'm going to miss sort of doing this. But I guess Disney is giving us a lot of reasons to do this, so it's only going to be sooner than later till we'll be sort of hating on more Disney and sort of bringing on people who defend, because I like the different opinions. I do. I love the back and forths.
I say bring it all.
Dude, you're always welcome back, man. Yeah. Always, man. And,
everyone here is always welcome back.
So what I'll start with is the episode. I thought, like Pat kind of said, there was like 13, 14 minutes worth watching out of this whole 49-minute episode. I mean, I'm a guy who hates action, but I was looking forward to action because of how slow the show has been and not in a fulfilling way. And they really let me down, man. I mean, when you have the Vision sort of exchanging one blow every 30 seconds up in space while, Agnes is screaming at Scarlet Witch off of a rooftop. Sorry, that's not a fight scene to me. But I don't want to digress and sort of get too far away from what I'm trying to get at. So I think my score is because I can't say anything else I haven't said tonight about the episode already. I'm gonna go with a 2 out of 5 for the episode, and I am gonna go with a 1.5 for the whole season. It really let me down. I'm not. I said on record as someone who is not an MCU fan that I have not been more excited for the MCU since Iron Man, because I really love that movie. I remember AC/DC is one of my favorite bands. You have AC/DC in the trailer. When I'm like 14, I'm going to that theater. Anyways, I said on this show, I was like, I am so excited for Phase 4. I cannot wait. Not just MCU excitement, like overall film, TV watching excitement. And I'm really not feeling too confident where we're sitting right now. So, yeah, that's me, Dom. What about you?
All right, so mine's kind of a little bit of a loaded answer, and I know you guys would expect nothing less from me, which is that I will say that while my thoughts on WandaVision are that it was satisfactory as a reintroduction to MCU, I thought it had the points to be a really compelling show in and of itself, and it definitely hit the emotional beats, and it allowed for some interesting types of stories to be told that I don't think we would have gotten otherwise. Did it actually serve a purpose in the end, though, is the ultimate question, because that is where I think it ultimately falls apart as a product. But more than that, I wanted to talk about the fan response, because I think that overall, and we, of course, as fan reactors to this overall, are a part of the problem, but just as far as fandom in general and how that's been working as far as kind of propagating the current Hollywood blockbuster machine. I just wanted to read a quote by the late, great Roger Ebert. You know, many of you will know as one of the greatest living film critics. And when he was asked about fandom, he disclaimed this. A lot of fans are basically fans of fandom itself. It's all about them. They've mastered the Star Wars or Star Trek universes or whatever, but their objects of veneration are useful mainly as a backdrop to their own devotion. Anyone who would camp out in a tent on the sidewalk for weeks in order to be first in line for a movie is more into camping on the sidewalk than movies. Extreme fandom may serve as a security blanket for the socially inept, who uses extreme structure as a substitute for social skills. If you are Luke Skywalker and she is Princess Leia, you already know what to say to each other, which is so much safer than having to ad-lib it. Your fanish obsession is your beard. If you know absolutely all the trivia about your cubbyhole of pop culture, it saves you from having to know anything about anything else. That's why it's excruciatingly boring to talk to such people. They're always asking you questions they know the answer to. And if that isn't the roast to end all roasts when it comes to just fandom overall in general, I don't know what is. And I'm not going to say that I currently necessarily buy into all of that, but I definitely think that there's a lot of truth to that, just as far as how current fandoms go. And obviously, again, that's part of the internet and just kind of the never-ending process of it. But I guess just if we take nothing else away from it, to think of the fact that, remember, it's not necessarily the property, it's always the people's reaction to it. I don't know. How was that for a final note for a podcast mic drop, if that counts?
I like it.
What's your score?
Oh, yeah. I didn't give my Yes! Right on spirit, right on time. AJ, this is why you were the man. Of course, I go into that whole diatribe, and I don't even give the fucking thing that I'm supposed to. All right, this episode was kind of a letdown. I'm not going to lie. The action was cool when I was in high school, and now that all my favorite Avengers are kind of out of the picture, and it's just this, I'm like, okay, so this is certainly, if this is all we're getting for the episode, and it doesn't really have any of the satisfactory, cool, good MCU feelings that I usually get, then I'm kind of not digging it. This episode was a 3 out of 5. This whole show, it did have its points, it did have its potential ultimately, but at the end of the day, it just fell flat and it couldn't deliver. So again, unfortunately, overall, just a 3 out of 5.
I don't know. That quote is still funny though. It's a
great quote.
It is a great quote. But the funny thing is,
quote.
All right, so you don't have to talk to a fan or whatever. Oh, but if it's not for the fans, your ass ain't getting a franchise. Exactly. That's the whole point. Right. If it ain't for the diehard fans, you're not getting 22 movies of Marvel.
His statement is not on the capitalism aspect. He understands that. His statement is on kind of the mental state that the fans get themselves worked into.
Yeah, but there's certain fans. I don't know. I guess for myself, I'm not a big MCU fan.
Right.
Because, yeah, so I you ask me stuff, I don't know the character from movies, whatever. But when it comes to comic books or me arguing with you on
right, no, again, you're only referring to yourself as the individual. But
Cisco and Ebert's talking about me.
No, they're not. They're talking about the collective idea of fandom. They're not talking about you.
No. I know.
Person.
No. I know, but I don't know. That's kind of like a I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things, I guess. Like, I,
Rubbed you the wrong way.
Yeah, right.
yeah, it just rubs me the wrong way. Like, you know
Alex's
what?
therapy hour.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? How about you just fuck up? Like, how about that? That's my quote.
Yeah,
to you.
I'm gonna
Just go
put
deep.
that Roger Ebert quote next to like Scorsese being like, "They're theme rise, and I don't like them."
Yeah,
Fuck off.
yeah. It's like,
Oh man, I have officially branded myself as the
this
new
is a
Martin
good panel.
Scorsese. I was not aware of where this was gonna go, dude. And I can think of no possible better way to end it here. People, all of you guys, thank you so much for coming on. This was an absolutely fantastic episode. This was an absolutely fantastic series. I had a lot of fun throughout these last 8 weeks overall. And so once again, before we get out of here, just go around once again. Where can the good people find you on all of your places on the social medias that we go to in order to get views overall? AJ, since you're pointing to yours, you go first.
you try to be nice, though. You don't knock this shit down.
Yeah, right? He was trying to do it on purpose this time.
Did everybody see that?
Well, they put it on the Instagram.
Yeah,
so
they
I-
did. They
yeah.
did. They put me on
I've
blast.
seen it.
But I think everybody
seen
has. But yeah, so I guess I'll start. I'm AJ from AJ Reacts Too, and I react to trailers, movies, TV, gaming, music, pretty much everything that's over here. And yeah, thank you guys for having me on here again. It is always a ton of fun hopping on here and talking to you guys. So
Hell
Yeah.
yeah. John Burns, dude, happy to have you back on. Can't wait to have you back on for something else in the future, dude. Where can the good people
Yeah,
find
man.
you?
Absolutely. I'm on Burns Reviews. John from Burns Reviews. It's Burns Reviews across the board: Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd, you name it. Early movie reviews every single week. I'll see you there.
All right. Luke, happy to have you back on. Can't wait to have you to see more content from you going forward. I'm very interested to see what's in that little brain of yours, dude. Where can the good people find you?
They can find me at Luke Reviews on YouTube. I'll be posting a WandaVision review, hopefully Sunday, if I can get the editing done, and a Raya and the Last Dragon review next week. By the way, we should have been talking about that Disney property because that was
Yeah,
much
right.
better.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, Luke Reviews on YouTube, and you can reach me on Instagram at the same name.
All right, sounds good. Pat, Professor Pat, happy to have you back on as
Yeah,
always,
they
dude.
call
Where can
me
the good people
Professor
find you?
Pat in these parts, and at Patrick W Huber on Instagram. That's where you can find me. And just to steal your phrase, Dom, like I do every appearance, delete more F and Fs.
That's amazing.
Pat, this is why you're the man. Alex,
Yeah.
Mr. Alex Figueroa, where can the good people find you on the interwebs?
They can find me on Levels of Geeks on YouTube, Instagram. I'm not much on Instagram. I'm like here and there, but I'm on Monday, Wednesdays, 9:00 live. Next week it'll be tonight I'm going live too. I don't know. I'm gonna be going late. I didn't know it was gonna be this late, but I'm gonna be going late. I'm gonna be unboxing a Heath Ledger bank robber version Hot Toys that I had since 19. Since 2008, I'm finally going to open it up.
Wow.
On the
dude.
channel, I do unboxings. I unbox statues. A few weeks ago, I unboxed Joaquin Phoenix 28-inch statue. I unboxed Star Wars statues, and tonight's gonna be Heath Ledger to go up on the mantle. But yeah, if you like all that stuff, check out Levels of Geeks.
Hell yeah.
Alex, did you move your studio?
Yeah. So when you used to see it, I had it the other way, where you saw my movies. So I
Okay.
flip flop.
you
but now
flipped
that
it.
I'm having another kid, I'm building a studio downstairs. In
Oh,
the house.
congratulations! I didn't know you
Yeah.
were having another kid.
Congrats.
Yeah.
hell
Congrats, man.
Yeah.
dude.
So yeah, so for now, this is what it's gonna look like, and then it's gonna be changed again, like like DC, how they change characters. It's gonna be the same way. Don't get used to this.
Yeah.
Don't get used to this. It's
Yeah,
gonna
right.
change anyway.
It's gonna
Um,
Matt of Basic Entertainment. Where can the good people find you?
First of all, I just want to shout out the great Chris and the machine himself, Dom, for putting on this great panel, and also to meeting Alex for the first time. Of course, Pat, this was the second time I met you, and Luke, first time. Burns, another first timer, and then AJ. We got some familiar faces, but of course, shout out to the first timer. Shout out to Dom. Shout out to Chris. This was a lot of fun. You guys can follow me at Basic Entertainment down there. Basic Entertainment. Yes, I cover movies like everyone else does. Who doesn't? And I do reactions, and I do sometimes music reaction. Also, too, if you guys want to have another news source for your big news for Marvel and DC and Star Wars and all that great stuff, follow me at Basic Entertainment. Basic Entertainment is where you can reach me. Basic Entertainment is where you get your news and rumors. So shout out to that. And that will be Basic Entertainment on Instagram. So that's all I got to say. And I don't think that was a mess like this show. I don't think that was a mess.
Chris, I had a great time tonight, man. This was awesome. Thanks again to all of our guests. This was absolutely spectacular way to end the season, spectacular way to end this series, spectacular way to kind of finish off the reemergence into the MCU. Obviously, we're gonna have, I hope, a lot more of these going forward. You know, I think we've done a great job establishing an incredible community here on YouTube. We would not be where we are without any of you guys or without the fans, everybody that is constantly contributing in the chat. Overall, we have to give a massive, massive shout out to them for sticking with us through thick and thin overall. And Chris, when can the fans expect content from us going forward?
Yeah, so, I mean, I almost want to change my MVPs hearing you say that about the fans. So many new faces tonight, so many returning faces, and the chat was nonstop. So that's my new MVP. Yeah, I'm changing. And so for them, because MVPs deserve rewards, right? We post content every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, rain or shine, guys, because, well, we're indoors.
Power or no power. COVID or no COVID. It doesn't matter. If we're alive, we deliver.
That's true. We actually didn't even have a kink in our schedule when Dom actually had COVID. So at this point, I think we're the real superheroes, as well as everyone on here, because everyone on here is a dedicated content creator. And guys, if you want to stick with us, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, right here on YouTube. Different times, different days, mostly live streams at 8 p.m. Friday night, definitely every 8 p.m. We have a crazy live stream planned for you next Friday night. You guys know the deal. We'll see you Monday night. We'll see you Monday night at 8 p.m.
We'll see you guys Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays every night at 8 p.m. If you click the subscribe button down below, you click the bell next to it. That way you get notified every time we put up new content. It'll contribute to us greatly in our continued quest to get to 800. In order to get to 300 subscribers. Man, wouldn't it be something if we hit 800 in a week? But in our continued quest to get to 300 subscribers, if you leave a like, that just helps us better in YouTube's algorithm overall. And if you leave a comment, that way you guys can notify us of what it is that you guys want to see from us next overall. Also, if you go to our Facebook profiles on Facebook and Instagram at Talkin TV or at Talkin TV Podcast, that's another way that you guys can get in touch with us directly in order for collaborations, anything like that. We've done a lot of collaborations. We've done a lot of interviews so far. I'm actually really impressed with how this year has gone for us overall, Chris. And you can continue to find Chris where can they find you, Chris?
Yeah, thanks, Tom. They can find me at Christian Ivanko. We'll toss a link to that in the description. The only reason I really mention it is because I'm getting back to music this year. I've had a lot of ups and downs. That's kind of been like my main quest, my main passion in life. Thankfully, I found other passions that I love just as much, point in case right now. But I got to get back to that, initial flame of artistic creativity. So it's happening. It's coming this year. So I'm very excited going solo. And you can find that at Christian Ivanko. Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. And what about you?
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Movie Nerd Reviews, but more importantly, again, on at Talkin TV Podcast, where I do where I focus most of my efforts these days in order to make our channel as good and as ripe as possible. And guys, thank you once again to the chat to have constantly having tuned in every single week for our faithful recap of WandaVision. We'll be back in 2 weeks with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, but we're going to have a special something for you guys next Friday. But just keeps coming back, as always. 12 seasons in a short film. We'll see you guys next time, and watch more fucking movies from all of us. Peace out, mother Fs.